Good evening from Golden Hawks Stadium on the campus of Centennial High School. The Centennial Golden Hawks take on the #1 ranked BHS Drillers in a very key non-conference game.
Mark, it should be a great match tonight. Two perennially strong teams. I look for an exciting game tonight.
I'm Mark Heffernan. With me is my brother Dennis Heffernan. Both teams are extremely strong against the run, but somewhat porous against the pass.
Well, I think both teams are going to come out, Mark, and try to establish the running attack, and whoever can do that early in the game will probably be the most successful today.
Both match up very well across the line, but I believe BHS has more speed in the defensive backfield and offensive backfield.
Well, that'll be the key to Centennial, especially defensively, to try to see if they can try to control the speed of the Drillers. If they can do that, they'll be successful in tonight's game.
The Drillers beat Clovis last week 44-28. Centennial lost here at home to Redwood. The Golden Hawks are 2-1. BHS is 3-0.
Mark, this should be a great match. Let's get going on it.
Prep football tonight on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Get in on all the football action with refreshing Coca-Cola Classic. This game is brought to you by your Coca-Cola bottler in Bakersfield. Always for the fans, always Coca-Cola.
Cinnamon Cyclones is sending you to the movies.
On September 26th, the threat is real.
Guy got away with a bomb.
George Clooney, Nicole Kidman, The Peacemaker, rated R.
Come into Cinnamon Cyclones today and sign up, because twice a week we're giving away passes for 2, plus movie posters to The Peacemaker. And while you're here, check out our all-new lunch menu. Cinnamon Cyclones will make your taste buds spin.
Excuse me, is that tuxedo from AJ's?
Let AJ's get you noticed. A Bakersfield tradition for over 25 years, specializing in Pierre Cardin, Christian Dior, Oscar de la Renta, and Calvin Klein. AJ's Tuxedo Junction, with 3 great locations to serve you.
Good evening and welcome to the Prep Football Game of the Week on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. I'm Mark Heffernan with Dennis Heffernan. Tonight from Golden Hawk Stadium on the campus of Centennial High School, Centennial takes on #1 ranked, the Bakersfield High Drillers.
Should be a great game, Mark. Bakersfield coming in unbeaten, ranked #1 in the Yosemite Division after their big win over Clovis last week up in Fresno. Centennial trying to bounce back from the difficult loss to Redwood of Visalia here last week. So I think Centennial, what they want to do tonight is they want to continue to improve, because the conference is really what's important for them. This is a non-conference game, but it can be a confidence builder for them. So that's what they're looking for, to improve, to cut down on the mistakes, and see if they can get off to a good start tonight.
Centennial competes in the Southwest Yosemite League and BHS in the Southeast Yosemite League. Both won their leagues last year. Jonah Long kicking off for the Golden Hawks, moving left to right across their dial. And Mackey catches the ball into the end zone, 1st and 10 for BHS at their own 20. BHS, of course, in white and blue. Centennial in red and gold. The first meeting between these schools at Golden Hawk Stadium last year, BHS won at Griffith Field 21-0 in a game that was closer than the final score indicated.
Well, I think playing here at the Golden Hawk Stadium is an advantage for Centennial. You're going to have the crowd behind you. And I think Bakersfield is going to have to come out, especially early in the football game, Mark, and establish their potent running game.
Well, last week Centennial was burned, trailing 24-0 at the half. A couple of long pass plays did them in that game against Redwood. They were missing Chris Branson and Jason Wall. They are back tonight. 2 of their fleet-footed athletes. Both can play receiver and defensive back. And they should provide a lot of impetus for Centennial tonight as they face a BHS team that they can match up physically with, but probably not in the speed factor when you talk about the defensive backfield and offensive backfield. Holding against BHS after the first run of the game, so the Drillers will be back deep in their hole here in the first quarter.
Well, one thing Bakersfield has to be concerned about tonight would be the letdown factor. After beating Clovis last week, rated #2 in the Valley, Clovis. I don't think that should be a problem playing a team like Centennial, but you never know. So we'll see how they come out tonight mentally and see how focused they are.
Both teams have been strong against the run this year, but BHS allowed 400 yards passing last week in that 44-28 victory. As Centennial likewise allowed more yards passing than they normally do. 1,289 yards offensively for BHS to 852 for Centennial. Went up the middle, nothing there. Centennial defense rising to the occasion. Defensively, BHS has given up only 194 yards on the ground, 462 through the air, that's 656. Centennial 186 through the ground, 514 through the air, 700 yards. So both teams pretty solid defensively. Darryl McCoy, the top rusher for BHS, 398 yards this year, 5 touchdowns, an average of 7.1. Andrew Stubbe is the top runner for Centennial. He scored 6 times this year, 211 yards and 6.8 yard average. 2nd and 17 for BHS. Tim Osborne to throw over the middle, pass complete to his brother Pat. Short gain. And they'll have about a 3rd and 9 situation. Tim Osborne, the quarterback for BHS, coming on this year. 23 of 39, 4 touchdowns, 427 yards. George Ballas started last week for Centennial. He also is 23 of 39 for 2 touchdowns and 306 yards. The question is, will Ballas or Jason Waugh start at QB for Centennial tonight?
Well, I think the coach Stubbe is going to look at it and just determine who's the hottest quarterback at the time. But I think both players are available to play. We'll have to see how the game progresses.
Ballas is a junior. He was a JV quarterback last year. And Waugh is a senior, an outstanding athlete at Centennial. 3rd and 9 for BHS. Man in motion. Tim Osborne. Sprint out right. Throwing long to the other side. One-on-one coverage. Incomplete. Coverage by Shannon Ezel. One-on-one. With Mackey, I believe, on the far side. Punt time for BHS.
Yeah,
Actually, the intended receiver is Gary Austin, a fleet-footed receiver for BHS.
Yeah, an excellent wide receiver. I think Bakersfield a little bit panicked that time. I don't think they needed to go deep, Mark. I think I would have tried some shorter passes and see if they can get their running game established instead of going for broke here in the first offensive possession.
Well, as you know, Dennis, last week Centennial was burned for 2 long pass plays in the first half, and I think BHS was thinking about that. Patrick Osborne punts for BHS. Beautiful high kick. Left-footed punter. And a fair catch by Centennial. Number 22, Jason Waugh, who had an ankle injury last week and didn't play, and that somewhat hurt Centennial's chances early on. You know, that game was 24-0 at the half, and the final score was 31-16, but basically Redwood won that game in the first 2 quarters.
Right. Mark, one player to look for tonight for Centennial is number 44, Justin Davis, a 6'1", 235-pound senior linebacker, defensive co-captain. He was all over the field in that first possession. So he's a player that fans ought to be looking for during the course of the game.
Wide to the right, Justin Roberts, son of Randy Roberts, one of the football coaches, baseball coach here. He's 5'6", 135. Centennial, single running back. Number 19, the quarterback. Ball to the middle, and a 4 or 5 yard gain. George Ballas starting at QB for Centennial tonight. I think Andrew Stubbe, the ball carry. He is the top ground gainer for Centennial this year. Andrew Stubbe, son of head coach Jan Stubbe, is senior. Plays defensive back and is their top runner. 211 yards, 6 touchdowns coming in at about a 7-yard average. He had 1 touchdown on an interception. So 2nd down and short, 2nd and 3 for Centennial. Balance at QB, receivers to each side. Andrew Stubbe fights his way for the first down. Into BHS territory at the 45-44. Andrew has that linebacker mentality. Even though he's not a linebacker, I remember him when he was about 11 or 12 years old. Very tough kid. 1st and 10 for Centennial. We'll also talk about some of their linemen, such as Russ Prado, their center, number 59. 73, Lonnie Jones, 6'1", 295. Of course, Brian Kitching, 6'5", 270. Number 77, right tackle for Centennial. Jones, Kitching, Prado, some of the best linemen in the area. 1st and 10 for the Golden Hawks against the BHS defense. There's a reverse coming the other way. Breaking a tackle, number 22. Check that 32. That's Echeverry for Centennial. Nick Echeverry, 5'10", 180-pounder, played last year for the Golden Hawks. He is a senior.
Well, Mark, that was...
Come the other way with a nice game.
Yeah, that was a reverse and a great block by the right tackle, Kitching, to spring the ball carrier. It made it pick up the nice gain there. So far, Centennial is looking good on the offensive line. The offensive line on this first series is really giving it to the drillers. It's starting to dominate the interior middle.
Now Kitching lines up at left tackle on this particular play. Number 56, right tackle. be B.J. Sittlemeyer. On second and short, 2nd and 3 for Centennial in BHS territory. Andrew Stubbe. First down. Great quickness. Lander stays on his feet. Takes to the 40, 20, down the sideline. Touchdown, Centennial! Andrew Stubbe refusing to go down. Second, third, fourth effort. Number 43 with a touchdown for the Golden Hawks.
Mark, that was a great run by Stubbe. He just would not be denied. Broke 2 tackles and then raced down the right sideline for a touchdown. Centennial really looking good here in the first quarter. Defensively, they looked excellent with the defensive penetration to stop BHS. Then on the offensive end, they've been able to move the football, and their runners are running with a lot of power tonight.
Andrew looked like he'd have about a 6 or 7 yard gain. Was hit, stayed on his feet, and showed a lot of speed as he took it all the way. Generally against BHS, they usually tackle somebody from behind, but he showed the durability in that distance run. And, you know, he has about 6 touchdowns running this year. I think that's his 7th or 8th of the year. At least his 7th is not his 8th. He leads the area in scoring. The PAT good 7-0 Golden Hawks. 8:08 to play in the first quarter.
Well, in this game here, this is one game where Bakersfield is finding out that the competition level from the standpoint of the size and the interior line is pretty well even. Centennial is almost as big in the interior line, and they're moving the football very effectively. Bakersfield's finding a team that can match up very well with them right now. And that's one of the reasons why in that situation there in that series, Centennial was able to move the ball at will.
Andrew Stubbe played some time at running back last year. Of course, they had an outstanding runner who had about 1,200 yards. He saw some playing time as a running back and as a receiver and a DB, and he's really come on his senior year. That was an outstanding run because it looked like he'd have maybe a 5 or 8 yard pickup. And it's amazing how he stayed on his feet. Then I like the fact how he accelerated to get into the open, then took it all the way. Kick by Long, comes to Mackey, and that right there is the key. They don't allow BHS to run it back. That takes away the threat that BHS has to break a long one. So in 2 consecutive kickoffs by Centennial, BHS has to start their own 20 instead of running it back to the 40 or midfield.
Right, and we've always talked about the special teams, how important that they are, and especially having a good kickoff and a punter.
Okay, 1st and 10 for BHS. Down 7-0 here in the first quarter against a fired-up Centennial team who lost at home last week, and they want to make amends for it. Stubbe left corner. Ezel right corner for Centennial. Ball's given to McCoy off the right side. Gain of about 2 or 3 yards, that's about it.
Well, Mark, so far, Centennial's scouted Bakersfield very well on the defensive end. They've been able to really hold down McCoy here in the first quarter. This is the 2nd series for Bakersfield, but I still think Bakersfield should keep running the football and should go to their bread and butter. That's McCoy. And I wouldn't deviate too much from that because you want to get that running game established.
Dennis Justin Davis calling defensive signals for Centennial linebacker, 6'1", 235, number 44. 2nd and 7 for BHS. Weagle the carrier, and another short gain. It'll be 3rd and I'd say about 6 for BHS.
Yeah, so far, Mark, it seems like energy-wise, Centennial came out with a lot more energy tonight.
Yes,
Bakersfield does not, at this point in the game, look like the energy is really there. And they're going to have to get some energy if they want to.
Well, Centennial has something to prove tonight, losing their home opener. They didn't play well last week. And if you can't get up for BHS, you really can't get up for anybody. They're number 1 ranked in the central section. And what are they, number 11 in the state? Because we have a 3rd and 4 for BHS. Sid running back behind Tim Osborne. Pat Osborne in motion. Tim rolling to his right, looking downfield. Somewhat pressure. Fires it. It's up in the air. It will be picked off. Oh, it's caught by BHS. I can't believe it. It'll be a touchdown. A very unusual play. Number 43, Roy Johnson. Centennial DBs went up, knocked the ball from the air. Johnson was just standing there. The ball came to him. They took it the rest of the distance. A big play for BHS. Yeah,
a play really that Centennial should not have given up. 2 defensive backs were there. But, you know, Mark, one thing you should do is knock the ball down, not try to intercept it. It looked like one of the Centennial defensive backs tried to intercept the ball, ricocheted off his hand into the Bakersfield High receiver, and then he galloped in the end zone. Knock that ball down. Do not try to intercept the ball in that situation.
You know how BHS is. They always seem to have the ability to make those big plays, even when it's not going their way. They have the athletes that can come through. So just like that, we have a 7-7 game.
Yeah, very
Unbelievable.
unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Centennial. They really had him third and long, and Osborne made a nice pass. But again, Centennial had the defense there, but kind of a mental mistake there. And instead of knocking the ball down, he tried to tip it, try to catch it, and tip the ball up in the air.
Well, to be honest with you, basically the pass was just thrown up for grabs. He threw into double coverage and just kind of wobbled it out there, and was very fortunate he caught the ball. The ball should not have been caught, and his man was not open. He basically just threw it out there. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was a great pass. And double coverage, there's no reason to throw that ball. They came up with it very fortunately.
Well, this is one of the things we talk about as a defensive back, is that you don't want to make those mental mistakes. And in that situation, that ball should have been knocked down.
That's
instead
right.
of trying to catch the ball.
Because it would have been fourth down, they would have got the ball there anywhere. You're right, unless it's a sure INT. But that kind of stuns the crowd here, as we have a 7-7 game. But BHS, they're ranked #1 for a reason, because they're able to come up with those big plays and silence the crowd and turn the momentum of the game.
Well, I think that's not going to deter Centennial. I think they came ready to play tonight, and I think this next series will be an important series for them to get back on the offensive end and try to control the ball on the ground. It's really what they're known for.
Tim Osborne kicking off for BHS, 7-7 ball game. Fireworks have struck quickly tonight for both teams. Both executing long plays tonight on ones that didn't look like they would go that far. Some excellent kickers in this game as it comes to Echeverry in the end zone. You can't run it out in high school if the ball is kicked into the end zone. There's no way you can run it out. They have a rule against that. So if the ball is kicked into the end zone, the team will take it out 1st and 10 from their own 20, unlike the college and pro game. So 7-7, BHS back in it mentally and on the scoreboard as Centennial starts it left to right across their TV dial. George Balance and company with 6:38 to play in the first quarter. And I talk about the tip drill. Wide to the right, Jared Bratcher for Centennial. Roberts wide to the left. Single running back behind Vallis. That is Andrew Stubbe. He has the ball up the middle. Stays on his feet. Now, he was tough to bring down. There wasn't much there. He was able to pick up about 3 yards.
Mark, one player to watch tonight for the fans who are looking in is number 2, Mackey, the free safety of the Bakersfield Drillers. He's a fine athlete and goes both ways a lot, plays a lot at both ends. But he's one player I think that people ought to be looking at as a defensive back at the safety position. Does a great job, so just one player to kind of focus on tonight.
Definitely number 2, an outstanding defensive back, has a lot of speed, can run back punts, kickoffs, plays some offensive wide receiver. Definitely a college prospect. Playing about 12 yards off the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 6. There's Stubbe again, hitting the backfield. He loses that tackle, and then he's knocked by about 2 other drillers at the line of scrimmage. And BHS coming up and sticking that time. Trying to get some of it under there. And then the Raymond Stansberg is over there, number 71, 6'3", 255. Jeff Dunlop, number 42 for BHS. So a 3rd and 6 situation for the Golden Hawks at a 7-7 ball game. Receivers to each side. Echeverry at fullback, Stubbe at tailback for Centennial. George Vallis calling the signal for the Golden Hawks. Play action. The pass over the middle. Picked off by Mackey. 1st and 10 BHS. Kind of forced that to number 88, Jamie Smith. Had about 5 receptions coming in, and Mackey just basically was in the right place at the right time. Took it away from the receiver.
Mark, didn't I note that a little while ago about watching Sean Mackey tonight? Free safety. He played the middle in a deep zone, just kind of covering center field. The ball was thrown. He just took that ball away from the receiver.
Right.
He's one player to watch tonight. He makes a lot of big plays for the Bakersfield Drillers, and he just made one there.
Well, BHS has always had a lot of players that make individual things happen in the game. And those are things you can't coach.
I think he's one of the
Athletes
best.
just make plays.
I think he's one of the best athletes on the whole field for both teams.
Pat Osborne wide to the left. There's Johnson in the slot. Tim looking for his brother. Out and up pattern. Up in the air and knocked away. I think they'll call interference on Shannon Ezel. Possibly had his left arm holding or pushing back on Osborne on that pass. It could have been called, maybe wouldn't be called, but I think that's what the official called in that play. Sometimes they let it go.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good call there, Mark.
They get away with that as pros.
Right, the defensive back there was looking at the ball, and what happened was Osborne had to slow down a little bit, and they accidentally made some contact there. I think it should have been no harm, no foul on that, because the defensive back was looking at the ball, was not playing the receiver.
Yeah, it's really a tough one to call. It gives them a 1st down. at the Centennial 20-yard line. First and 10 for BHS with 5:01 to play here in the first quarter of a 7-7 game. BHS coming back at you. Wide to the left, Royce Jennings, a junior for the Drillers. Wiggle, the backfield. The 28 with the ball on the right side, gets some blocking. Has a first down. Of course, that is number 28, Daryl McCoy, their top runner. Number 3 in the area coming in. Nice blocking off the right side by BHS. Daryl did a great job following his blocks and using his power and speed.
Oh, yeah, he's got tremendous speed. And a little bit of an open, he'll scoot through there. You know, Mark, one thing you need to talk about, too, is the Roswell brothers. I mean, Tim Osborne, senior, first year he started. He was third team as a junior. His brother now, Pat, is a receiver. And they've really become a potent force in the passing attack for Bakersfield High. Something Bakersfield hasn't had in several years is a passing game and a passing threat.
Pitch back, Daryl McCoy cuts back against the grain. Nice cut. They string it out, though, and do a good job as he gets to about the 10-yard line. Narisic with the tackle for Centennial. You know, you talk about Tim Osborne, the quarterback. He's 6'3", and his brother Pat is 6'4". Pat, of course, led the area in home runs last year with 12 as a sophomore. So there's some big boys, big young boys for BHS.
Well, Mark, tonight, Bakersfield is having some difficult times running wide. Centennial's doing an excellent job of coming up. Number 6 on that play did a fine job of turning the play in, Mike Gonzalez. And really, he really made McCoy kind of hesitate and stutter step on that. And then the pursuit was able to come up and make the tackle. But really, Centennial has really done a good job of scouting Bakersfield. It's really taken away that outside run by McCoy so far here in the first half. 175-pound junior. They're having a measurement down there on the field before 45 to play in first. Well, Mark, if I can be an analyst for a minute, I think one thing Bakersfield could do on this drive here would be run straight up the middle, because Centennial is pretty well spread out. They know that Bakersfield has a speed factor on them. So what they've done is that they've spread their defense wide. They're taking large gaps in the defensive line, and I think what Bakersfield could do would be run straight up the middle with their size. And I think that's what Centennial is doing. I think the way to counteract that would be to run straight up the middle. I think there's some holes that they can, shoot through right in the center of the line on Centennial's defense.
Third down and short for BHS in Centennial territory. Wade goes straight up the middle, has a first down, but a flag, and the offensive backfield of BHS. My brother says it's a motion penalty against the Drillers. So BHS comes up with a costly penalty in this situation, as they would have had a first down deep in Centennial territory. They're in the red zone. I don't know what the percentage is as far as scoring inside the red zone. The team the other day, out of 10 times inside the red zone, they scored 9 touchdowns and 1 field goal. And I think that was the team that played Fresno State, Utah. They didn't do that kind of a job Thursday night. The Bulldogs recorded 12 sacks. The Dogs got after them.
Yeah, the Dogs were barking pretty good the other night.
That's one of the best defensive efforts I have seen in a Fresno State team in a long time. And that's the kind of aggressive defense you need to win ball games. A lot of blitzing, a lot of stunning. 3rd and 5 for BHS. They're in the first quarter. McCoy, the sole running back behind Tim Osborne. Play action, Osborne looking for the end zone. The pass up in the air, knocked away by Shannon Ezel at the last minute. A 5'11", 160-pound quarterback showing great leaping ability and timing as he knocked it away at the last moment.
Well, one of the things that hurt Bakersfield here in the first half, Mark, is their inability to do it on the football. And they're having to throw more than I think they want to. And Centennial, that did a fine job on the defensive end. Put enough pressure on Osborne. He had to get rid of the ball probably a little bit earlier than he wanted to, and it was a nice defensive play. But right now, they've been doing a good job stopping Bakersfield's run game.
The number 3, Timothy Osborne, in to try to field goal for BHS. From the 22-yard line, a 32-yard attempt. It is far enough. It is good. A 32-yard field goal by athlete Tim Osborne, as Osborne's do it all, and BHS leads 10-7 with 4:08 to play in the first quarter.
Well, here we are in the first quarter still, 4:08. Bakersfield had a nice drive there, helped out by a questionable pass interference on Centennial. I think Centennial's done a good job, though. They've done a good job defensively against Bakersfield's run. Bakersfield had to throw the ball. Has made some plays, but on that situation there, that was an excellent defensive stop by Centennial. And, of course, the Osborne brothers, what can you say about them? Tim made a nice field goal there, but that's just great athletic ability there. But so far we got an exciting game here, just like we thought it would be. Very close, very competitive. it's just been a great game.
Tim kicks off and is a field goal kicker. Pat is the punter. And they're not slouched in that department. Tim is the quarterback, Pat the wide receiver.
Yeah,
they do quite a bit for that team. And you know, they're on the team with a lot of athletes, too. They definitely make a difference. So BHS has scored 10 consecutive points in this ball game, leading 10-7.
Which is nothing new for them, Mark, because they tend to get their points in spurts. A lot of games that Bakersfield plays, they get on rolls, and they can score 15, 20, 30 points in a row.
Dennis, were you aware that Daryl McCoy is on a kickoff team for BHS number 28?
Yes.
Second back from the left side.
Yeah, he's changed his defense a little bit here to just get his best athletes in the game, even on special teams. But I think Bakersfield knows, like we all know, how important special teams is.
Definitely, it's a fact of containing, staying in your lanes, something that a few teams don't do a very good job of. You know, you don't have to have great athletes on the special teams, but you have to do your job and make sure you know your assignments and execute them.
Well, I think he's doing it more for this game because of the importance of the game and the fact that Centennial is a very good team. Now, when they get into league play and they're beating some teams by a lopsided score, you won't see Daryl McCoy on the kickoff team.
See Austin, left cornerback for BHS. Stewie behind George Ballas, 10-7 BHS. Play action. Ballas rolling to his right. Throws it complete, a short gain to the 20-yard line. To number 88, Jamie Smith. Nice tackle there by 85, Posey, BHS.
Well, Mark, I think for Centennial to have any success as far as winning the football game, I think you'd agree they're going to have to get the ball in the air a little bit. They did make a nice run there to score on the first touchdown, but generally they're not going to be able to chew up the yards for all the way down the field. There's going to have to be some pass plays and some big plays made by their team. So I think how important they throw the football. If they can throw the football well tonight, I think that'll really be a key to whether they can win the game or not.
Calvin Hosey with the tackle, number 85, 6'3", 205. Second and 10 for the Golden Hawks. The right hash mark. Receivers to each side. This information a lot. Ballas trying to throw it, and the pressure gets to him. Looking down the left sideline. BHS coming hard. Number 66 for the Drillers. Dwayne Winters, 6'2", 250. Moving very quick, that junior. BHS has so many athletes in that team.
Well, when you start throwing the football, that gives that speed a chance to really penetrate and get in on the quarterback. When they're running the football, they got the defense off balance. When they start throwing the ball, then Bakersfield can use their speed, especially for the rest of the passes.
And we haven't heard from Jason Stewart tonight, 89. Left defensive end, outside linebacker. Usually makes a lot of plays for the Drillers. 3rd and 15, draw play to Andrew Stubing. Nice cutback. Has a little bit of yards, but BHS really swarms to it all. It'll be 4th down for Centennial and pick up some yardage, but very difficult to pick up more. We saw Stewart in on the tackle, along with number 33 for BHS. And that would be Aaron Dwayne, linebacker, 6'1", 210. They converge very quickly on him. Punting time for Centennial, down 10-7.
Mark, we talk about Stubing, 50 runner. Reminds me a little bit of his father, Jan Stubing, when he played BC, Bakersfield College. Excellent runner.
But Jan told me he didn't have the linebacker mentality that his son has, running back. High punt. Mackey, the catch in his own territory, and thrown out of bounds. Sean Mackey across the 35 at about the 37-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for BHS. Mackey with an INT tonight. And BHS, with 1:58 to play in the first quarter, leading 10-7 with the ball once again.
Well, we'll see what they do on this drive. So far, they've been able to mix up their pass and run very effectively in the first half. Bakersfield's been more balanced tonight, Mark, and that's one of the reasons why they're ahead 10-7. Centennial's have struggled a little bit with the passing game, completed a couple short passes, but basically has been a little bit ineffective in the passing game and really has to rely a lot on the run. Tim
Harnett wants to have a lot of balance at BHS this year. Austin in motion. Tim Osborne pitches it back to Austin. 30-35 cuts back, spin move. Only gains about 2 or 3 yards. A lot of running there, and not much upfield. As Centennial swings it out, it'll be about 2nd and 7 for BHS. At the 1:42 mark of the first quarter from Golden Hawk Stadium in Northwest Bakersfield. And the clock is now running. Did a Centennial Garza game here a couple of years ago for radio, and saw Taft play Centennial a few years ago. My other 2 appearances here at Golden Hawk Stadium.
Well, that was a great game a couple years ago when Garces came in here and upset Centennial 24-14.
Remember that Matt Pearl, who's at UCLA on a baseball scholarship, had about a 47-yard field goal in that game. He was a junior. 2nd and 8, BHS. McCoy tries to cut back, and Centennial there. Nice turn-in move by number 40, J.R. Merisic for Centennial. He turned the play in. The other Centennial players over there, but he did a great job of turning McCoy in, and 2 other Golden Hawks were there in hot pursuit.
Right, I mean, Bakersfield hasn't faced a team that's been able to stop their running game like this year. Clovis, a little more of a finesse team who likes to put the ball in the air, but this is the most physical team they've played so far this year. And Centennial's doing an excellent job, especially on the wide-out plays that Bakersfield likes to run. They've really done a great job of stringing the plays out, and Duke comes up and makes the tackle.
Chris Travis, right defensive end, coming in. And they have Osborne, they throw him down. He put the pressure on the outside. Brian Durmeyer, 6'1", 210 in hot pursuit, number 30. Also number 45 over there, Rusty Coons for Centennial. The Golden Hawks rushing off from the outside and coming towards the middle. Excellent defensive scheme by the Golden Hawks. They were burned on that one long pass play that really should have been knocked down. Should have been an INT at the worst. The BHS came up, of course, with INT. After 1, BHS 10, Centennial 7. And you're watching the Prep Football Game of the Week exclusively on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Excuse me, is that tuxedo from AJ's?
Let AJ's get you noticed. A Bakersfield tradition for over 25 years, specializing in Pierre Cardin, Christian Dior, Oscar de la Renta, and Calvin Klein. AJ's Tuxedo Junction, with 3 great locations to serve you.
True or false? Pain is nothing compared to what it feels like to give in.
Powerade. Power to working muscles when you need it.
I am not done.
Get back into the game with Powerade. This game is brought to you by Powerade and your Coca-Cola bottler in Bakersfield. Powerade, you are not done.
Cinnamon Cyclones is sending you to the movies.
On September 26th, the threat is real.
Guy got away with a bomb.
George Clooney, Nicole Kidman, The Peacemaker, rated R.
Come into Cinnamon Cyclones today and sign up, because twice a week we're giving away passes for 2, plus movie posters to The Peacemaker. And while you're here, check out our all-new lunch menu. Cinnamon Cyclones will make your taste buds spin.
Has this ever happened to one of your favorite tapes? How about this? Parts of this tape are damaged forever. Before this happens to your favorite video or home movie, call Time Warner Productions. Time Warner Productions specializes in quality duplications, foreign conversions, and repairs. So before your favorite video cassette becomes your pet's next meal, preserve it by calling Time Warner Productions and get it duplicated. Call 322-1941.
And we begin the second quarter of action from Golden Hawk Stadium on the campus of Centennial High School. Mark and Dennis Heffernan on Time Warner Cable Channel 52. BHS, Bakersfield High 10, Centennial 7. It's 4th and 12 for BHS. Tim Osborne standing back at his own 20 to punt. He was sacked on 3rd down by the stingy Centennial defense. So Pat Osborne, of course, punts. Left-footed punter. Fair catch by Centennial, number 20. Jared Bratcher, wide receiver. So Centennial has it 1st and 10 in pretty good field position at their own 32-yard line.
Well, I think we have the 3rd offensive series for Centennial tonight. I think what they'd like to do tonight, at least right now, would be getting the end zone, Mark. They'll do that anywhere they can get there, if it's run or pass. But they've been very successful running the football, but I think he knows that he knows that they need to throw the ball a little bit to keep the defense honest at Bakersfield, so then they can open up some of the running lanes.
Bratcher's a deep threat, 5 receptions for 104 yards this year, number 20 for Centennial. The near side of the screen, lining up wide left. Bryce McGill covering him, the right corner for BHS number 5. And, of course, Mackey, the free safety for the Brewers. Centennial going quite a bit with their single running back, and that would be Andrew Stubbe behind Vallis, number 43. Once in a while, they bring in Echeverry at fullback and they run the I. But generally, they have receivers to each side. Split out wide. Number 4, Justin Roberts to the right side. We must be discussing something on the field. The clock at 11:52 of the first half, 10-7 BHS. That is 1st and 10 for Centennial. Drill is trying to defensive run. Andrew Stubbe, nice and makes a nice move at the line of scrimmage. Digs his way for about 4 or 5 yards. Don't look like much was there. And a nice cut at the line of scrimmage. Picks up some yardage. Call it 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, I would say, for Centennial.
Mark, that was a nice tackle by Raymond Stansberry, number 71 for BHS. He's a big kid for a junior, 6'3", 255.
Oh, yeah. They just keep on developing them at BHS number 71, a junior, as you said. 5 yards, 2nd and 5, good pickup. You like the 2nd and 5 situations. Gives you a little diversity in your play calling. Branch wide to the left, Stubbe behind Vallis. Stubbe again. Fights his way, keeps on fighting. Refuses to go down. They probably would give him forward progress, maybe a pickup of 1 or 2 yards. But Andrew Stubbe, number 43, you talk about a guy with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th efforts. There's a guy, a kid that puts about 120% to every run.
It's amazing because he goes at about 165. Yeah. He's got great balance, he's got quick feet, and he's tremendously strong in the lower part of his body to be able to shed tacklers like he does.
I remember him when he was 11 years old, and I was helping to coach a team that he was on. And he was very tough back then. Timeout by Centennial. A key situation, 3rd and 3 with 10:29 to go. Jan Stubbe, the head coach of the Centennial Golden Hawks. His assistants are Bill Richardson, Randy Roberts, Dennis Manning, Jeff Turman, and Bill Romley. And of course, Tim Hartnett is the head coach for BHS in his first year as head coach of BHS. Tim Hartnett, 3-0 as he starts this year. Mike Ornelas is the kicking coordinator. Chad Provençal, the assistant defensive coordinator. Ron Bryant, the assistant offensive coordinator. Jay Iliadis, the quality control coordinator. Mark Hudson is the offensive coordinator, and Julio Mercado is the assistant head coach. Tim was the defensive coordinator of BHS for many years. He was still taking on those duties along with being head coach.
Mark, you talk about the
but now, of course, the pressure's on him.
You talk about the assistant coaches, and one player there that kind of rings a bell is Chad Provençal. Excellent running back and linebacker for BHS many years ago. Did a fine job there. And now he's on with the Bakersfield High Athletic Department as one of the coaches. So they play there, and then they come back and they coach there.
Didn't he play at San Diego State?
Yes, he did. The drillers take care of their own. They play there, and then they come back and coach there.
We're talking about going back many years, too.
Kind of like Garces, taking care of their own, too.
That's right. That's right. Roberts wide to the left for Centennial. 3rd and 3 for the Golden Hawks at their own 40. The reverse does not work this time. They fake to Stubbe, give it to Echeverry. Remember, it worked for good yardage early in the game. BHS was there to stop the play. Graham containing for BHS. So on 3rd and 3, Centennial maybe lose about a half yard or a yard. 4th and 4. At 10 minutes to play in the first half.
Well, so far, Mark, you see the problem Centennial's having on 3rd and 4. They have to run the football because the passing game has not been effective. And unless they get their passing game going tonight, it's going to be very difficult for them to score very many points against this very big BHS defense.
BHS coming, trying for the block. Fair catch called by Gary Austin at about the 33-yard line. 9:48 to play in the first half. 10-7 BHS over Centennial.
Mark,
the Drillers, the #1 ranked team in the Central section.
Excuse me, some of the linemen for BHS offense: Dwayne Winters, excellent player. Reed Morse. We also have Elliot Sajak, probably their top offensive lineman. Keith McKnight, the right tackle. And so they're a fine team there. Calvin Hosey also gets in and plays a little bit too. So they're an excellent
Reed
offensive
Morris,
line.
number 70, 6'3", 265. Stansbury, 6'3", 255. Sajak, 6'5", 290. McKnight, 6'5", 323. They are definitely low. McCoy Cuts inside, running with power and speed. Some big yardage. Be about 2 yards shy of the first down, 2 or 3 yards. At the 40-yard line, Daryl McCoy for BHS, number 28.
Well, Mark, we talked about some of the blocking. Reed Morse that time, the right guard for BHS, made a nice tackle to spring McCoy. That's the longest thing he's had on the off-tackle play. He did a great job on the trap block there and sprung him for about 9 yards.
Durmeyer in a stop for Centennial, number 30. Second and a short 2 for BHS. McCoy again has the first down, sneaks his way, flag is down, picks up about 5 or 6 yards, but it might be a penalty against the BHS interior line. As I watch where they throw the flag, holding against the Drillers. So BHS does not get the first down on a fine run by Daryl McCoy. Now, you really don't have to hold when he's running. All you have to do is stand up your man for about a second. And with his power and speed, he can just cut off that semi-block and make a lot of things on his own. He's not really a type of running back that needs a lot of blocking.
Well, they're facing, Bakersfield High is facing teams very physically strong on the defensive front, and so they're not able to move their men out like they normally with a smaller team. So sometimes what happens is you get a hold of a player, he's big and strong, and you tend to hold it.
Second and 11 for BHS. Play action. Tim Osborne rolling to his left, heavy pressure. Robs it out there. Is it complete on the far side to number 4, Patrick Osborne, his brother? It is a completion. Is it a first down for the Drillers? Where do they spot it? Will we have a measurement? Tim to Pat. Osborne to Osborne.
Mark, you can see the advantage with the brothers playing, Osborne to Osborne. Tim, the quarterback to Pat, and that really helps because they know each other's moves, they know where each other's going to be on the field at all times, and it's a big advantage, especially in crunch time.
In crunch time. Well, we have another measurement.
Looks to be a little short, Mark, maybe a half yard short.
As Justin Davis, number 44, checking out the defensive signals. Continue moving players in and out. Third and a short 1. 8:43 to play in the first half for BHS. As he led at 10-7 over Centennial. And do we have a timeout situation? Does somebody have too many people on the field? And would it be the Golden Hawks? Coming off, Rusty Coons, number 45. And the players will talk things over with their coach.
They had 1 extra man on the field. They had 12 men on the field.
A lot of guys were going off and on. I think 2 guys came on and 1 left just before that play. So they called the timeout. Third and a short 1.
Well, here's the first big defensive stand for Centennial here in the first half. Could be a real big play for them. If Bakersfield can get a first down here and control the clock, they might be able to move the ball and do something with it, maybe score, or at least keep the ball away from Centennial. Centennial stops them, gets the ball back in good field position. Who knows what they can do with 8:43 left in the halftime.
We know last year was a 0-0 game for most of the ball game, and BHS, as usual, came up with some big plays and won 21-0. But it was a defensive struggle last year. Both teams had a lot of trouble running against each other. And if it wasn't for a couple of big plays, which is usually the case for BHS, the game would have been closer. But the Drillers always have that ability to make something out of nothing. Gary Austin wide to the right for BHS. McCoy in motion. Tim Osborne to wiggle up the middle. First down for BHS. Power blocking by the Drillers off the right side.
Mark, they win behind Reed Morse and Sajak. I mean, they got some big size up there, 6'5", 295. Morse, 6'2", 265.
Just straight ahead blocking. And you don't really have to move the defense back too much, because it picked up about 3 or 4 yards.
Well, that was a smart play because they put McCoy in motion, and that kind of took the linebacker with him.
That's right. You have to follow him.
And then Weigel then went straight up the middle, and it was a very effective first down.
Weigel, being the inside runner for BHS this year, at 1st and 10 for the Drillers. He has the ball. Falls is blocking very well. His hit stays on his feet. Kevin with a nice run of about 8 yards. Who topped him that time? Marisic, JR, number 40.
You know, Marisic has had a fine game defensively. He's been in on about 3 tackles tonight, and he shows you how to make a perfect tackle, Mark. I mean, he puts his head, his neck, his shoulders, everything into the tackle, Marisic. So he's a fine defensive player for Centennial.
Well, when you're 165, you basically have to do that. As we have Andrew Stubbe, number 43, guarding Austin. in front of us. BHS in Centennial territory at the 48. 2nd and 3. Johnson in motion. Tim's pass behind is the intended receiver, Royce Jennings, a junior 150. That's a timing pattern. And quarterback Tim threw it behind his intended receiver who was looking in on the play. So 3rd and short, a nice call by BHS. On 2nd and short.
You know, one thing I think Bakersfield could do tonight, since they really are heavily scouting McCoy, I think Weedle can be a big man, especially here in the second half. As we get into the second half, I think he can be a real important player tonight.
Bring McCoy in motion, take the linebacker out of there, and give the ball to Weagle. Very strong runner up the middle. McCoy, the ball carrier, has the first down. They try to strip him, but he dives forward for extra yardage. Gonzalez, also number 40 over there, Marisic for Centennial. But McCoy just powers his way for some good yardage into Centennial territory, 1st and 10.
Well, Mark, there, that was the fine play by BHS. They ran behind Keith McKnight, the 6'5", 323-pound senior offensive right tackle that time. Opened up a hole for McCoy. McCoy's starting to see a little bit of daylight here in the second quarter, Mark. He's starting to pick his spots a little bit better. Bakersfield's starting to do a little bit better job opening up some holes in the offensive line.
Pitching 77, Jones 73 on the defensive line for Centennial. To play offense too. So a nice penetration. Nice cutback by McCoy, but Centennial up to the task as he picks up about 2 yards over there for the Golden Hawks. Durmeyer, who caused him to cut inside. Short gain for Daryl McCoy.
Mark, we talked earlier, I think the best yards for Bakersfield will be straight up the middle because Centennial really is scouting the outside well and has done a good job of turning McCoy inside where the pursuit then picks him up. I think quick hitters straight up the middle with Weagle or McCoy up the middle are really more effective.
Justin Wilkins replaces Jones in the defensive line slot for Centennial. 2nd and 9 for BHS. There's McCoy. Nice move in the backfield. Dives forward. He'll be shy of the first down. Does he fumble?
No.
No, they say that the ground cannot cause the fumble. So he dove forward. He'd be shy of the first down, but a nice effort by Daryl McCoy. As Jones comes back for Centennial, they gave him a breather for one play, number 73. 6'3", 270. Should I say 6'1", 295. Lonnie Jones, 73 for Centennial. Took a rest for one play, back in there.
Mark,
3rd and short.
Excuse me, Mark. One player who's done a good job tonight, Shannon Ezel.
Yes.
Number 3, he plays left and right cornerback. He's shifting, staying with Austin most of the time. He's done a fine job tonight as a junior cornerback for Centennial.
You have Pat Osborne and Austin wide to the right. Tim looking that way. Flag is down. Pass complete to the other side. Number 85 for BHS, Mike Swan, has the first down, but a flag, and most likely holding against BHS. And Brian Kitching, 77, was in hot pursuit of Tim Osborne. It was not a well-executed play by the Drillers, and once again they have a holding penalty.
Well, you know, we came out in the first quarter, and both teams were really fired up. I thought they were playing excellent football. The second quarter's been really penalty marred by both teams. It's gotten a little sloppy here in the second quarter. I think teams need to go in halftime, maybe regroup, make some adjustments, both teams, to see how both teams can maybe move the football a little more effectively.
Well, that's a big penalty against BHS as they move back to the Centennial 47-yard line. At 5:25 to play here in the first half. There's BHS 10, Centennial 7. Once again, you have Austin wide right. In the slot is Pat Osborne. I formation. McCoy tailback. Tim Osborne rolling to his right out, going back to his left. He'll run it. Has some yardage. You know, last week, Tim Osborne had about a 68-yard run for a touchdown. I think he had 2 touchdown runs for BHS. That play looked like it was a run all the way. Unless it was a broken play.
It could have been. Centennial pursued very well on the play and really held him before he could get a big gain.
They almost overran him on the rush.
Yeah, he's a very dangerous quarterback because not only can he throw the ball deep, but he also can put the ball down and run the football too.
That's a personal foul penalty against Centennial, which will give BHS a first down. So like you said, there have been a lot of penalties in this quarter.
Well, none more costly than that for Centennial, because most of the penalties in the second quarter have been in the variety of holding against Bakersfield. But that penalty there, personal foul, is a penalty you just can't afford to have.
Is that roughing the pass?
I think it was roughing the pass.
He was running on the play. It was still called roughing the pass.
Yeah, when he was down, there was a few players that did a little extracurricular activity on him.
First and 10 for BHS. Out of the Centennial 24. Draw play to McCoy. Has 5-10. Nice tackle by number 44, Justin Davis. McCoy was almost off to the races. Just one step from breaking it. Daryl McCoy, number 28. Of course, he normally breaks in the second half and the defense gets tired. And 2nd and 5, only a 5-yard gain. He could have had a lot more than that.
Well, they've done a fine job on him tonight, pursuing well and keeping him from really breaking anything long. And that's been really important tonight for Centennial, keeping him in really in the football game.
Number 20 in the slot, Royce Jennings. Mackey White to the right. Pass over the middle, incomplete. Tim trying to throw to his brother Pat, and Pat was not looking back. And the pass was broken up by Centennial. So on that particular play, the brothers did not have the proper communication or timing. As Pat was not even looking back on the pass, and it was almost picked off. Nevertheless, incompletion. 3rd and 5 for BHS. And the drillers call a timeout with 4:20 to play in the first half. And it's 10-7 BHS. So a second quarter kind of marred by penalties by each team. And it has taken a little bit of time to run the second quarter as far as time is concerned.
Well, I think the most important thing is the scoreboard. And right now it's 10-7 Bakersfield. And Bakersfield's played, I thought, a really good second quarter, Mark. The defense has been solid. The offense really has moved the football well, but they've had some penalties. They've really hurt some momentum.
There are 2 holding penalties in the game. Centennial helped them that time with a personal foul penalty against the quarterback, and it probably would have been about a 3rd-and situation for BHS. So those are negatives for Centennial for helping BHS with the first down. Now we have 3rd and 5.
Well, I think there have been 2 big plays in this game. One was the long pass by Tim Osborne, where the Centennial defensive back tipped the ball in the air instead of knocking it down for a touchdown, and then the personal foul on 3rd and long and gave Bakersfield the first down. Those are 2 plays tonight, and I think those are the 2 things that hurt Centennial here in the first half. That's really the reason why Bakersfield had 10-7.
I'm impressed with number 43, Roy Johnson's ability to run for BHS, 6'1", 237. Took off pretty good after he caught that ball.
When you're a driller, you always know how to run.
That's right. 3rd and 5. McCoy to the outside, string him out, and he loses yardage. Number 6 over there, Mike Gonzalez. A lot of speed, 5'10", 175. Also number 40 for Centennial. Turning the play in would be J.R. Marisic. So some of the smaller players that have quickness were able to turn McCoy in. He loses yardage, 4th and 8 for BHS.
Well, Mark, we said earlier that Centennial's been able to stop the wide plays tonight. The best way to go at him is right up the middle, behind the big offensive line of Sajak. And right now, when they go wide, Centennial's been able to come up and make the play.
Tim Osborne trying a 40-yard field goal. He definitely has a leg for it for BHS. Line drives it, no good. Coming in once again, Dennis, Justin Roberts, little number 4, putting some heat on the kicker. Holding for BHS was Brian Shore. I don't know if the place wasn't that good, but Tim missed that one. That was more of a soccer kick, a line drive, way off to the left.
Well, it appeared to be a low snap from center, and the ball just never really got to the holder in a way that he could place it well. But Centennial's done a fine job on the wide plays tonight. I think Centennial has to be very happy with the way they played tonight.
Oh, definitely.
Because I think they have really had a great effort tonight.
Yeah, they showed a lot of emotion tonight, getting good contributions from some of the smaller players. DBs, except for the one play, but they've come up and done a great job in some of the wide plays. So it hasn't just been their big linemen. At 3:36 to play in the second quarter. Might be offsides against BHS unless an offensive lineman for Centennial moved. I did see one of the players for BHS move quickly.
Yeah, what he did, Mark, is that he jumped over the line. Grimes for Bakersfield High, the defensive left tackle, jumped in the neutral zone and made contact with an offensive receiver. And so that was an automatic 5 yards for Centennial.
And they like that. We love those 1st and 5 situations.
Yeah, that was
better than 2nd and 5.
That was number 78 for BHS defensive tackle.
Centennial with the ball moving right to left in this quarter, down 10-7. And the Centennial crowd are on their feet. Play action, Valve throwing it deep. There's a man out out there. It is complete, flag down. Number 20, Jared Bradford. I think the completion will stand. Probably a foul against BHS. Interference most likely against BHS. And he caught the ball anyway. Double coverage on Jared Bratcher, who is a speed man for Centennial. And it should be a 1st and 10 for the Golden Hawks.
Yeah, it looked like the Bakersfield defensive back didn't turn around when the ball was there, and it was a great catch by Jared Bratcher, the fine flanker for Centennial.
Nice throw by Vallis.
Vallis has shown an arm here in the second quarter, Mark.
Well, he had time to throw. Generally, it's hard to throw it deep against BHS because the coverage might break down or the blocking. 1st and 10 for the Golden Hawks at the BHS 24-yard line. Echeverry. Stubbe behind Vallis. Stubbe up the right side. Sliced his way for a gain of about 1 or 2 outside the 20 at the 21. 10-7 ball game. 3 minutes to play in the first half. BHS on top. Vallis is Bratcher for a long one. Deep inside BHS territory. Now they're about a yard and a half away from the red zone. Centennial.
Well, they like to run wide to the right with Stubbe, but unfortunately you're running into the area where Mackey comes over in that area, and also Jason Stewart, the defensive end. So you're running against a couple pretty good players, and you try to move to that side of the line.
Of course, you have pitching lining up left offensive tackle for Centennial. They're going this way. Pitch back to Stubbe. They string him out wide and bring him down for the loss. I thought he may think about cutting back, but BHS really swarmed to the ball. Excellent defense. Grand, number 33. We have Stewart, 89. 42 Dunlap. Just 3 or 4 drillers were there, strung it out, and then took him down.
So, Mark, I said both teams are more effective running the ball from the middle. Both teams have done a good job stringing plays wide. And that's because, athletic-wise, both teams are pretty well evenly matched. And so when it goes wide, the defense is able to come up and really string the plays out for both teams. I think Centennial and Bakersfield are much better on quick hitters straight up the middle.
Well, then it's on a touchdown run by Andrew Stubbe. He ran into the middle, broke a tackle, and then he looted another guy before taking it all the way. So that was not an outside play. Wide to the left, Justin Roberts for Centennial. 3rd and 11 for the Golden Hawks at the BHS 25. Left hash mark. Play action. Vallis rolling to his right. Heavy rush, throws it. It's picked off by BHS. Number 42. Really taking the distance. Tackle from behind by Andrew Stubbe. What a big play by 42, Jeff Dunlap.
Mark, we talked about big plays.
Defensive pressure.
Jason Stewart was coming in there. It looked like a screenplay that just didn't develop. And instead of taking a sack, the quarterback made an ill-advised toss there. And Bakersfield made a great interception, ran it back, 62 yards, and Bakersfield.
We talked about Jeff Dunlap, number 42, making some big plays tonight. And as you said, Stewart caused it with his great rush on Vallis, and he probably should have taken the sack. But how many times you've seen when the quarterback is going down, they try to throw the ball and it's picked off. The BHS had 3 guys in the area. 1st and 10 for the Drillers. 1:30 to play and a half. McCoy tackled after a gain of about 1 or 2 yards. So the Centennial D has to come up big here with a tackle by number 77, Brian Kitching. BHS has 2 INTs tonight and a long pass reception for a touchdown, but we talked about the Drillers' ability to make the big play when it counts most.
Well, they have been able to make some big plays tonight, but Centennial's defense has really rose to the challenge, has really done a good job of stopping Bakersfield, especially in the red zone tonight.
2nd down for BHS. Wago, McCoy, Johnson in motion. Tim Osborne rolling wide to his right, heavy rush. Oh, they miss him. Now he goes to his left. Nice block by Wiggle. The pass into the end zone. It is caught by Pat Osborne, but it's not a touchdown. Out of the end zone. That was quite a play.
Yeah, number 3.
Ezel had a chance to bring down the big quarterback, Tim Osborne. He eluded him, rolled to his left, fires it towards his brother to the far corner of the end zone.
I think he caught it, but I think he was out of the end zone.
He had a nice catch. He was out of the end zone. Wow.
But again, Centennial doing a very good job of pursuing tonight, getting a lot of pressure on Tim Osborne, and he's not able to really set up the offense the way he'd like in his passing game. Again, that was kind of a scramble play, and it was not really a set play. So Centennial, again, doing the job defensively in the red zone.
3rd and goal for BHS. Johnson in motion. Centennial defense moves that way. Is it motion against BHS? Or is it offside against Centennial? 1:14 to play in the first half. That's BHS 10, Centennial 7 on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
It was a day like any other. Mom was baking her famous cinnamon rolls when suddenly the skies grew dark and the winds began to blow. There was no mistake, a cyclone was coming. We ran for cover just in time. And when we returned, the most incredible thing had happened.
Oh, my.
With a taste that'd make your taste buds spin, people came from miles around for just one bite. And you will too, at Cinnamon Cyclone.
Cinnamon Cyclones is now open at 18th and Chester, so stop by. We'll make your taste buds spin.
Excuse me, is that tuxedo from AJ's?
Let AJ's get you noticed. A Bakersfield tradition for over 25 years, specializing in Pierre Cardin, Christian Dior, Oscar de la Renta, and Calvin Klein. AJ's Tuxedo Junction, with 3 great locations to serve you.
Where did the Power Flow come from?
The new Power Flow sports bottle. It's faster, so you can get back into the game where you belong. The new Power Flow from Powerade. Power the working muscles when you need it. I am not done.
Get back into the game with Powerade. This game is brought to you by Powerade and your Coca-Cola bottler in Bakersfield. Powerade, you are not done.
1:09 to play, Dennis. It could be defensive holding against Centennial as the outside referee threw the flag on the attempted pass from Tim to Pat Osborne.
Well,
we'll see what they call.
One thing in that situation, Mark, when you look at matchups, Pat Osborne goes at about 6'4", and you've got Ezel at 5'10", 5'11", so there's an advantage there in size. Although Ezel has the speed, Osborne has the size, especially on an alley-oop pass or a high floater or a fade pattern, into the end zone.
So those generally the kind of pass they throw to him all the time.
Right, and they have been effective this year, but
it's against BHS.
Yeah, Centennial really, Mark, defensively really has kept them in this game. If they win this football game, you got to give credit to Centennial's defense. Bakersfield's made some big plays, but their offense is really stagnated in the red zone tonight. They just do not look sharp in the red zone tonight. I don't know what it is. They're either in motion, but they seem to be having all kinds of problems with Centennial's defense.
Well, Centennial has shifted very effectively defensively when BHS has had somebody in motion, whether it's McCoy or Johnson. BHS will be attempting a field goal. This will be about a 33-yarder by Tim Osborne as he tries his third one tonight. It's a fake. Shore throws it into the end zone. Incomplete. Calvin Hosey had a chance at it, and I don't know if he would have been inside the end zone, but it went right through his hand. So number 11, Brian Shore, who's a holder for BHS, turned quarterback that time, threw a fine pass to the end zone, but it was incomplete.
Yeah, that was an interesting call. It looked like he just dropped the ball. It looked like it would have been a touchdown, but I'm not sure. It was in the corner of the end zone, but a fine defensive stand by Centennial that time to hold Bakersfield to no points at all.
Well, I'm somewhat surprised that's a make-a field goal by Tim Osborne, and that was only a 33-yarder.
Well, I think
early in the game he kicked a 32-yarder. Then the last time, of course, they had a mix-up with a handoff. So they've been in field goal. They've attempted 3 field goals tonight. Made 1 out of 2, and tried that time for the killer with the pass to the end zone. It almost worked, but it didn't. So BHS does not come up with anything off that INT, and that is the plus for Centennial. Steely up the middle, running hard. Gain of about 5 yards across the 20 to the 21.
Mark, we talked about running straight up the middle, and that's been the most effective play for Centennial tonight is off tackle, behind pitching, straight up the middle, and use their quickness of Scooby. And they've been very effective. But any other kind of plays just haven't been working for them. Bakersfield's done a good job defensively tonight. Offensively, Bakersfield has just not been able to perform in that red zone area. The defense has given them good field position and has set them up in some nice, really inside the 20.
When's the last time you see BHS intercept a pass, take it to the 10, not even score a point?
It's been a while.
22 seconds to play in the first half. Centennial 7, BHS 10. Andrew Scooby, the ball carrier, is packed as he gains about a yard. What might be the final play of the first half. A great defensive struggle between Bakersfield High and Centennial. Centennial scored first on a long one by Andrew Scooby. BHS came back on a pass play It was tipped up into the air. Roy Johnson was able to catch it, lumber the final 30 yards for the score, and Tim Osborne had a 32-yard field goal for BHS at 4:08 of the first quarter. There has been no scoring in the second quarter. It's been somewhat penalty marred, but the defense has really picked it up in the second period for both teams. As the clock is winding down here in the first half from Golden Hawk Stadium. It's BHS 10, Centennial 7, and you're watching the Prep Football Game of the Week exclusively on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. 10-7 BHS over Centennial as we begin the second half of action here on Time Warner Cable Channel 52 with Mark and Dennis Heffernan. Osborne kick comes to Echeverry at the 5 to the 10, 20-yard line straight up the middle. And up to about the 24. Centennial will move from right to left here in the third quarter as a flag is down. And BHS in the other direction. Calvin Hosey, number 85, making the tackle for the Drillers. No points were scored in the second quarter tonight. And a defensive struggle. BHS had the more opportunities as Dunlap intercepted a short pass from George Ballos, returned to the 10, tackled from behind by Mr. Andrew Stubbe.
Mr. Stubbe there saved the touchdown with his speed.
Basically, you could say effort. But of course, BHS then had a fake field goal. The pass was incomplete in the end zone. Mackey had an INT for BHS tonight in Centennial territory. The Drillers with a couple of picks. As we begin the third quarter, Centennial, the personal foul against them, starting from their own 12-yard line. Andrew Stubbe has an opening. First down and more. 30, so look at speed. Comes back to the right, midfield, and finally taken down. Andrew Stubbe deep in BHS territory at the 37-yard line.
Mark, we talked earlier about Stubbe making all his yards up the middle. One player he likes to run behind is Brian Kitchen, the fine offensive lineman for Centennial. So I really think of when Centennial gets down into Bakersfield territory, they've got to find a way to get Stubbe the ball. But really, I think they're more effective going straight up the middle behind their big offensive line and try to push Bakersfield back instead of trying to go wide. And that way the pursuit of Bakersfield High, especially the speed of Bakersfield High, tends to come in and penetrate and make the tackle.
See how he weaved left and right as the DBs were backing up on the play? Now they're a long run for Stubbe, having a great game tonight for Centennial. He's a tailback I formation. Ball is given to Echeverry. Powers his way up the middle for a gain of about 2 or 3. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Centennial. Well, Andrew's speed has really been evident tonight on that touchdown run in the first quarter. He plays defensive back. He catches Dunlap from behind after the INT. Makes a long run here in the third. I guess he doesn't get tired. Well, he had a little rest at halftime.
Well, no, he doesn't. But you know, when I used to watch his father play at Bakersfield College, he never got tired running the ball at quarterback either.
He threw really well on the run. 10:45 to play in the third. It's 2nd and 7 for Centennial. George Ballas, a QB for the Golden Hawks. Andrew Stubbe, left side, cuts back. First down and more. Licking and break tackles, goes forward to about the 20-yard line.
Boy, he's really running well tonight, Mark. He's so shifty in the open field. Very difficult to bring him down with one man. Plus, he's
great
so strong.
footwork, isn't he?
Yeah, and also he's very strong.
Very strong for a guy who's only 165. Shedding tacklers, using the straight arm. Has great balance, too. And as you know, we talked about his second, third, and fourth efforts.
He's one player that Centennial needs to get the ball to more during the course of the season. He's definitely their best runner. You've got to get the ball in his hands at least 20, 25 times a game.
1st and 10 for the Golden Hawks at the BHS 20-yard line. Number 42, the ball carrier. He makes a nice run. Jesse Morales spelling Stubbe for a play. Morales has had a fine year. 167 yards and a couple of touchdowns this year.
Mark, we talked earlier about the first half. Bakersfield having a lot of opportunities to score and did not score, and I think that really gave Centennial an uplift at halftime. They come out in the second half on the first drive, and they're really taking it to Bakersfield.
2nd and 5 for the Golden Hawks. Split back formation behind George Vallos. Receivers to each side. Quick opener to Echeverry. First down and more. Close to about the 5-yard line. As the Centennial offensive line is blowing back BHS. Scooby will return for Morales. It's a 1st and goal for the Golden Hawks.
Mark, we talked about Nick Echeverry, but he's a strong runner. Very strong runner at 5'10", 180.
Number 32.
Yes, he runs very strong, very quick, got excellent balance.
The power backfield for Centennial with number 44, Justin Davis in there. And Echeverry and Scooby. Scooby, the ball carrier, powers his way forward, close to the goal line. Running behind Kitching and some of their big offensive linemen, such as number 74. And that would be Sean Fulweiler. Sean's about 270 pounds. The center, Russ Prado, 6'1", 255, 260. Centennial just moving the BHS defense back.
Well, Mark, it doesn't matter how effective Centennial can be when they don't make mistakes. If they get their running game going, they power up the middle, and they don't turn the ball over. They're a very effective football team because they can run the football with their good size.
2nd and goal for the 1 for Centennial. Full house backfield. Andrew Scooby hit hard. The line of scrimmage close to the goal line. I don't know if Dunlap or number 85 Hosey hit him. McDermott making the tackle for BHS. Jermaine, number 88. And he really planted Andrew very well that time.
Well, again, a illegal procedure there for Centennial backs them up a little bit, but they've been running the football well. I would keep doing what I'm doing, Mark, which is go behind a big offensive line, and they have 2 quick backs in Echeverry and Scooby, and I would just keep moving the football. And you know what they've decided to do in the second half? We talked about run straight at the middle. They're not going wide because those are the most effective plays tonight. Quick hitters straight up the middle.
That's a 5-yard penalty against the Golden Hawks. 8:12 to play in the 3rd quarter. 10-7 BHS. And it's 2nd and goal from the 6 for Centennial. They had virtually been mistake-free on this drive until then. Echeverry, Davis, and Scooby behind Vallis, and that big offensive line. Vallis, long count. Scooby, dive off to the left side, inside the 5. Only gained about 1.5 yards, and it'll be 3rd and goal for the Golden Hawks.
Well, Mark, you're in a tough situation. You're in the red zone. You're a little far to run it, but you're not too far where you can throw it too. So a tough decision for Coach Scooby here. Do you throw or run? I still would go with my running game. It's been very effective to get them all the way down here. If you don't want to run, maybe a rollout pass of some kind where you can get the ball out in the open and get it into the secondary. But it's a tough call because you're really at the 5-yard line.
Yeah. The toughest place to score in a football field from the 5-yard line in. 3rd and goal from the 5 for the Golden Hawks. Vallis calling signals. Offensive line is set. Full house backfield. Fakes it, gives it to the other side, and runs. Touchdown, Centennial! Great call and great execution as he faked the handoff to his fullback. Vallis lining up on the right side, coming the other way. BHS defense was going left. He ran the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's the first time they called that play today, and it was very effective. Kind of a misdirection play, and it really worked to perfection. Bakersfield was fooled on the play. Great execution, great call by the coaching staff of Centennial. Centennial doing an excellent job on that drive, Mark. They just really powered the football up the middle, and then on the last play of the drive, a misdirection play, and outside, went outside to the left-hand side, and scored.
Really fooled the BHS defense. And the kick is up, and it's good by Jonah Long, number 8. And Centennial leads at 14-10 over BHS with 6:58 to play in the ball game. Morales basically spelling Scooby in this quarter, ran the ball 3 times there for the touchdown as they caught the BHS defense going the opposite direction. Great call and execution. Morales with the speed to get to the outside.
Well, really what Centennial did there too, Mark, is they used a lot of time on the clock. Those are the perfect way you want to do it when you're on offense. You want to control the clock, use a lot of time, keep the ball away from the BHS offense, and then score. So they did everything they wanted to do that time. They came out. I thought they came out very aggressive in the first half. Now they've come out very aggressive in the second half. It's Bakersfield High's time to answer that aggressiveness.
And that's one thing that BHS does very well, is answer that aggressiveness. As long as they pick it up for Centennial. Stewie made it happen, though, with a long run, and then he came back with about a 12-yard jaunt. Took a rest for a play. Morales ran a couple of times. Then you have Morales and Stewie pounding it up the middle. After that 5-yard penalty, Centennial faced the 3rd and goal from the 5. With the excellent call and the execution by the Centennial offense, scores a touchdown. As we talked about, it's very hard to score a TD from the 5-yard line in. That they accomplished that feat. BHS will take it out at their own 20-yard line. I don't think the Drillers have had a run back tonight. And that takes away some of their weaponry, some of their offensive power, arsenal.
Well, we know about the Centennial kicking game. Of course, we've talked many times about special teams and how important it is, Mark. And tonight, Centennial has been very solid in kicking the game, as is Bakersfield.
Now, both teams have excellent kicking games and special teams. BHS with a ball at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10. They now trail Centennial by the score of 14-10. The Drillers have scored 10 consecutive points since the first quarter. Darryl McCoy off the left side. Gained about 5 yards or so across the 25 to the 27. McCoy yet to break it tonight, but there's a lot of time left in this ball game. He usually likes to do it when the defense begins to wear down.
Well, I've been very impressed, Mark, with Centennial's speed, defensively and offensively. I didn't know they had that kind of speed this year, but they've shown me a lot of speed with the defensive backs and the offensive receivers and the offensive backs. So they do have a number of skill players that look very effective tonight.
Austin White to the right. Slot, we have Mackey. Number 42, Dunlap back there with McCoy. McCoy, the ball carrier, goes to the outside, breaks the tackle. They string him out, but he looks to have the first down as he accidentally knocks over a little boy on the sideline. Number 32. He didn't mean to. Should be a first down, 1st and 10 for BHS. McCoy showing some strength and power and speed as he goes to the outside.
As he can run to the outside and inside. He's a very effective runner, and he's been an important cog in the BHS offense this year, and they expect a lot of him.
Question is, how will Garces match up with Centennial next week?
That's an interesting game there. We'll talk more about that later on.
6:13 to play in the 3rd. Tim Osborne calling signals. Looking left. Pass over the middle complete. Out to Austin. Showing that speed, 1st and 10 as they get inside Centennial territory to the 42.
Mark,
Gary Austin.
That was a nice 28-yard pickup by Austin. Osborne to Austin there. You know, that's one thing, you know, we talked about in the first half, where Tim Osborne goes to Pat Osborne on all the important throws, but Austin is a senior, second-year starter, and he's a very effective flanker. And he's one player that's been open most of the night, so I think Osborne needs to look for him tonight.
Especially on those short slants or the post patterns over the middle. 1st and 10 for the Drillers. The ball to McCoy. Nice cutback. Flag is down. Has the first down, but it's probably against BHS as he eluded the tackle of Jones, number 73. Lonnie Jones of Centennial. It is against BHS. It was called in the offensive backfield. You know, I think that's the 3rd time BHS has had a holding penalty tonight. You know, they had it twice in the 2nd quarter. And that definitely does not help your offense.
No, it doesn't.
Those 15-yarders hurt, especially when you're in a close game.
Well, I think it's a situation where the physical defensive pressure of Centennial is making Bakersfield do things they normally don't do. They're having a more difficult time handling some of these defensive linemen. Lonnie Jones having a great game for Centennial there at nose guard. Justin Wilkins replaces him for a while. Kitching is in there. 1st and 20 for BHS. The option. Pitch back to McCoy. Centennial comes up. Nice tackle. Number 40 for the key play, J.R. Marisic. He's had an outstanding game for Centennial tonight. McCoy tried to duke it inside, went to the outside. Marisic stayed with him.
the contained play defensively. Also had some help from his Golden Hawk teammates. Didn't need it, though. No gain. Maybe a gain of about a half yard. Second and a long 19 for BHS.
We talked about Lonnie Jones, Mark, defensive nose guard, but it's 6'1", 295. He's very difficult to move out there. He's kind of short.
Perfect size for a nose guard.
Yes.
You want a guy to feel like a tank. Okay, second and 19 for BHS, 4:47 to play in the third. Centennial 14 to Drillers 10. Osborne rolling to his right, looking downfield. Short pass, incomplete to Weigel. He would only gain about 2 or 3 yards on the plays in hot pursuit. It was number 45, Rusty Coons for Centennial. Tough pass to handle. Would only been a gain of about 2 or 3 yards. So not necessarily a great call by BHS. He was probably trying to look downfield. Nobody was open. Had to unload it.
Well, Mark, I think
Centennial was coming with the pressure.
Yeah, I think the difference tonight really in the football game is the Centennial defense just stopped Bakersfield from running the football. And Bakersfield has made some holding calls that have hurt him, but they just haven't had any spark offensively tonight. Consistency with their running game, and that's really been the difference.
Austin White to the right. He'll be guarded by Andrew Stubbe. On third and 19 for BHS, Johnson in motion. Split backs behind Tim Osborne. Looking to his right. Here comes the pressure. Screen pass left. Complete to McCoy. 5 yards, 10. Makes some great moves. First down and more down the sidelines. First and 10 for BHS. A big play for the Drillers. And Daryl McCoy.
Well, Mark, that was a great screen pass there. He let all the defensive pressure come to him. Osborne flipped the ball to the left flat to McCoy. He ran down the left sideline for about 28 yards and a first down.
Well, it's nice to have a running back that makes you look good as a quarterback. You throw a pass about 10 yards, and he runs it for 20 himself. You get credit for the entire distance.
Well, have you ever seen BYU play? They make those quarterbacks look good every time they throw.
Austin and Mackey White to the right for BHS. First and 10 at the 22. There's McCoy. Hit the backfield. Tries to go forward. Jones, number 73, number 30, and on the tackle for Centennial. Now, that'd be Brian Durmeyer. Got a solid game up the middle for the Golden Hawks. 4:10 to play in the third. 14-10 Centennial. BHS on the move just outside the red zone. And McCoy saved that series for BHS.
Well, Mark, it's been a situation where Bakersfield, when you get by the goal line, especially inside the 20, they just haven't been able to run the football. And Centennial has just done a fine job tonight of really holding them down. And they're coming up with big plays defensively.
It's second and 9 for the Drillers. Inside handoff to McCoy. Takes inside, goes to the outside. He's strung out very well and thrown down. Durmeyer over there, also number 40. Marisic. We've called their names a lot tonight. As they contain him, not allow him to go to the outside. Another short gain and a third down situation for BHS, about 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8. As they're at the Centennial 20-yard line, just inside the 20.
Interesting move here, Mark. Looks like a passing situation. They took Gary Austin out of the game, number one of their top flankers. So which you would think you'd want to have him in the game in a passing situation with 3rd and 7.
We have Pat Osborne and Mackey to the right side. Weigel slot left. Osborne rolling to his left. Here comes the pressure. He tries to elude him. Is he looking for the end zone? The pass is there, incomplete. And once again, threw it high for his brother, a little bit too high. Pat Osborne, incomplete. As the defense flushed him out of the pocket, made him scramble, threw across his body, and the pass incomplete.
Well,
to be fourth down for BHS.
There.
He's always there.
And they have just a tremendous pressure. They're not getting a lot of blocking up front, especially when it's 3rd and long. Of course, Centennial knew they were going to be throwing the football there. But it looked like he rolled to his right. He rolled to his left, and that's where all the pressure was. So I'm not surprised why he didn't go the other way. It didn't fool anybody on that play.
And the Golden Hawks getting a standing ovation from their fans in front of us here at Golden Hawk Stadium. 4th down situation, 4th and 7 for BHS. They're going for it, no field goal. 2:50 to play in the 3rd quarter. The tailback, Daryl McCoy, Tim Osborne. Sprint out left. Here comes the pressure, and they knock him down. Ryan Kitching, number 90. Kevin Scott, number 6. Mike Gonzalez for Centennial. They got a hold of Tim Osborne's arm. This pass went incomplete. Tim Osborne facing pressure he hasn't seen this year tonight. Hasn't faced this kind of pressure all year long. And it definitely makes a difference.
Oh, yes, it does.
He tends to telegraph his passes somewhat, and generally he has plenty of time to throw. They flush him out of the pocket, and he generally looks to the same receivers, I think. Doesn't seem to check off his receivers. You know he's looking for his brother, Pat, quite a bit. And I think that the defense has picked up those telegraphing situations. 2:45 to play in the third. Run up the middle, a gain of about 2 or 3 yards for the Centennial Golden Hawks. The defense has risen to the occasion tonight.
What Centennial wants to do, Mark, as they did on their first possession of the second half, is control the football, run up the middle. That's been really when they've been more effective, and especially behind pitching. So that's what they'll try to do here, unless Bakersfield can show them they can stop them.
Stansbury making a tackle on Andrew Stubbe. Derek Tissinger into the game for Centennial.
Mark, another player who's had a fine game for BHS tonight has been Bryce McGill, number 5, the right cornerback. He's done an excellent job covering.
He's covering Channing Ezell here in front of us.
Yeah, done a great job on him, and Ezell's really pretty much been shut out tonight. He's done an excellent job, defensive right corner on him.
Bratcher on the far side. At 2nd and 6 for Centennial. Does BHS move, or are they drawn offside? Look like Jason Stewart moved offside. The left defensive end for BHS. Was he pulled off? That's the question. BHS is clapping right now. A couple of BHS defenders moving to the neutral zone, but it's against Centennial. So the offense moved 5 yards against the Golden Hawks. At 1:33 to play here in the third quarter. 14-10 Centennial over BHS. You know, last week we had a good game between East High and North High. East led at 14-3 at the half, and North came storming back in the second half and won 33-14. But this has definitely been our best game of the year. A lot of intensity all throughout. 2nd and 11 for Centennial. George Ballas calling signal. Andrew Stewart with the ball carrier, left side. Nice room. Balls his blocks. Should be a first down for Centennial. Got a block from his wide receiver that time, 88.
Centennial's just been more effective running the football tonight, Mark, especially inside. And on that side, that was a wide play. He got outside the tackle, but Stubbe really has been the most impressive runner tonight for both teams. McCoy's had his moments tonight, made some big plays, but Stubbe, I think, made the bigger runs tonight. He's running with more power, and it really has looked great tonight.
Well, they had over 200 yards, over 100 yards in 2 separate runs tonight. 1st and 10 for the Golden Hawks, just under a minute to left in the third quarter. On Ballas. Echeverry, the ball. Straight from the middle, powers his way for about 3 yards. Running behind that big offensive line of Centennial. And Centennial's push has been very effective with their inside runs. As you mentioned, they've been running very effectively to the inside tonight. And they might as well keep going that way as they try to use up some of the clock as we head into the fourth quarter of a very intense physical football game.
Well, I think this is the kind of game Centennial wanted. Limit their turnovers. Here in the second half, they played almost an error-free game except for that one illegal procedure by the goal line early in the third quarter.
When they came back and scored, that was the key.
Right, but they played very effectively, and they did a good job defensively on Bakersfield, especially against the run.
He's now wide to the left, 2nd and 5 for Centennial. As the clock is running down the third. Long count. Andrew Stubbe off the right side. Short of the first down. Up to about the 40-yard line in Centennial territory. It'll be third down for Centennial as the third quarter comes to a conclusion from Golden Hawk Stadium. It is Centennial 14, Bakersfield High School 10, and you are watching the Prep Football Game of the Week exclusively on Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
Get in on all the football action with refreshing Coca-Cola Classic. This game is brought to you by your Coca-Cola bottler in Bakersfield. Always for the fans, always Coca-Cola.
Cinnamon Cyclones is sending you to the movies.
On September 26th, the threat is real.
Guy got away with a bomb.
George Clooney, Nicole Kidman, The Peacemaker, rated R.
Come into Cinnamon Cyclones today and sign up because twice a week we're giving away passes for two, plus movie posters to the Peacemaker. And while you're here, check out our all-new lunch menu. Cinnamon Cyclones will make your taste buds spin.
Excuse me, is that tuxedo from AJ's?
Let AJ's get you noticed. A Bakersfield tradition for over 25 years, specializing in Pierre Cardin, Christian Dior, Oscar de la Renta, and Calvin Klein. AJ's Tuxedo Junction, with 3 great locations to serve you.
We begin the fourth quarter with a draw play to Andrew Stubbe, cut down by BHS, and it will be punt time for the Golden Hawks.
Well, Mark, that was a very effective play there. Number 33 for BHS. Aaron Graham blitzed from a linebacker position and slowed him up, and then the pursuit team up made the tackle. So BHS gets right. They knew Stubbe was going to get the ball, and it was a predictable play by Coach Stubbe and forced fourth down. So a thinking man's game there, and Bakersfield that time came up with the right play at the right time.
Fourth down for the Golden Hawks. BHS coming. The punt is off to the right. Doesn't take much of a bounce for Centennial. BHS with very good field position at their own 36-yard line. Punt by Smith of Centennial. And the Drillers will have it first and 10. 11:15 to play in the ball game. 14-10 Centennial over BHS. The Drillers are undefeated 3-0 this year. Ranked number 1 in the Central section. Centennial is ranked number 10 coming into the game.
Well, Mark,
Centennial lost last week 31-16 to Redwood. And BHS beat Clovis 44-28.
Well, we know how good Redwood is, defending Valley champion. Great passing attack, and they're a very solid football team. This year ranked high in the Valley, so that's a game anybody can lose to Redwood. They're a solid team.
But Osborne in motion. Tim for the keeper. Tries to come back the other way. Breaks a couple of tackles. Has the first down. Great run by Tim Osborne. Looked like he was going off to the right. Came back the other way. Was able to break a couple of tackles. Gets close to the first down marker. He puts his head down. Tim Osborne can run the ball. A couple of long runs last week against Clovis.
Yeah, that looked like a pitch to the right and an option type play. He decided not to push the ball. So all the way back against the green and picked up a nice 9 yards on the play to give him second and short.
BHS with the ball at their own 45-yard line. Second and a long one. And Osborne, the QB. Boy behind him. He's going to pass. Now it rolls to his right. He'll be hit from behind. He waited too long. Way too long. Number 90, Kevin Scott with a sack.
Well, Mark, again, we talked about the pass plays of Bakersfield, but a lot of their pass plays are too deep. They need to go shorter on some of their pass plays because that was good protection. You can't wait forever.
Well, he set up to throw. He looked. Then he rolled to his right. Then he set up again. They gave number 90 a chance to hit him from behind.
Yes, you just don't
he had plenty of time to throw, but he took too much time.
Right, he really did. But there's a penalty on Centennial on that play. They've had a lot of penalties that really hurt them in crucial situations.
Would this be a personal foul type of situation, or?
The official hasn't made his signal yet, but it looks to be against Centennial. Excellent game.
Well, it's going to be a 10-yarder against Centennial from the spot of the sack. So basically, we're back to where we were before.
It might have been roughing the pass.
Yeah, it was second and 1. He loses 10. They gain 10 back, so now it's second and 1 again.
Of course, Mark, I'm always a firm believer in short passing game.
Tim Osborne over the middle, complete. Oh, I thought Pat Osborne should have had it. I anticipated the reception. It was right in his hand. He might have been hearing footsteps. We're thinking somebody was going to plant him from the front end.
But again, Mark, we've talked about the short passing game. He was open, and those are the kind of plays Ferguson needs to look.
Wide open. Looking pattern.
Well, if you look at the
right through his hand.
Centennial tonight, they're giving Austin and Osborne a good 6-7 yards. So the short passing game is open if they'll be patient and look for it.
Throw underneath the coverage. That was just dropped. Third down a long one for BHS. 9:55 to play in the ball game. As they're on 45. Daryl McCoy to the outside. He's tripped up. Does he have the first down? He's very close. It depends where they mark it. very close to that, but it depends on the spot by the officials. I can't see from my vantage point exactly where the ball is spotted in reference to the change. The player is down.
I think no play error at that time, Mark. I think if you would have stayed up the middle, you would have had a first down. He tried to veer to the outside, and it cost him probably a yard to a half yard on that play, which is a situation when you need to go fourth and third and short, you need to go straight up the middle, north and south.
But I'm sure the BHS will go for it even in a fourth down situation. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
They're in their own territory, but it'd be fourth and short if it is indeed that.
They don't have to worry about that.
First down by a couple of inches.
Less than the length of the football.
First and 10 for the Drillers at their own 47-yard line. 9:50 to play in a ball game. It's Centennial 14, BHS 10.
We have a player shaking up on the field, but I can't really remember who's the Bakersfield high.
You know, that penalty against Centennial definitely hurt them. It was 2nd and 1 for BHS. They come up with a great sack of the quarterback. The personal foul brings in another 10 yards back, so they have 2nd and 1 again. When you make a great defensive play, you hate to have it spoiled by a penalty, a personal foul penalty. They're able to get those 10 yards right back, and then, of course, McCoy runs for the first down. What I would consider a very kind spot by the officials.
You would, right?
I thought they spotted it a little farther upfield than where he really got it. Maybe had that extra second and third effort like most running backs do get, able to use that balance and gain that extra half yard. Of course, that play was on the other side from us, so we really couldn't tell. Number 62 walking off the field, Richard Vasquez for BHS. They're shaking up on the last play.
Looks to be an ankle problem or a lower knee area, but I think he'll be okay. He walked off on his own power.
Lonnie Jones, Justin Davis, Daryl Marisic, Kevin Scott and company for Centennial, Brian Kitching, Rusty Coons in their defense. The receivers to this side, ball on the right hash mark of BHS, 1st and 10. Osborne inside hand off to Weagle. He's not able to elude the grasp of Jones and Kitching. Gain of maybe a yard for BHS. But Centennial stacked it up pretty good in the middle. We talked about Kitching and Jones. They're basically going both ways. They have to be pretty tired at this stage of the game. It's 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter.
Well, Scooby's did a good job. He's been substituting them freely a little bit defensively. And they're not playing every single play, although they are playing every series.
I know he's been doing that with Jones.
Right, he has to. And keep him fresh, especially here now in the fourth quarter. So he's substituted freely, and Kitchen hasn't played that much in the second half, but he is now because the game's getting on the line. They bring him in now.
Austin and Mackey to the left for BHS. 2nd and 9. Is it too much time or legal procedure? Somebody in a neutral zone. We will see what they call. It's against BHS. A legal procedure against the Drillers.
You know, it's funny, Mark, but for this time of the season, I think both teams have made many more penalties offensively than we would expect, because a lot of those procedure penalties should really be taken care of by the fourth team.
You could expect that in the first or second game, not in game number 4. And the personal fouls, you can't do a lot with that. 2nd and 14 for BHS. The Drillers in their own territory, trailing Centennial by 4. 8:45 to play. They take the draw. Osborne on a heavy rush, gets away momentarily. He's going back, throws it complete. What a play to Johnson. Great tackle by number 44. Justin Davis for Centennial. Looks like BHS may make something out of nothing like they usually do. But the Golden Hawks forced Osborne way back in the pocket. And Davis with a great tackle on a 240-pounder.
Right, he went back to pass, couldn't find anybody open, scrambled around, went back deeper, and then he made a nice pass to Jones, but Centennial came up with a great defensive play.
Well, you know, they've been rushing him from all sides. He goes to the right, they're rushing him from the left. He goes to the left, they're rushing him from the back side. You don't have that much time to throw against Centennial. He's taking a lot of time back there. The plays are taking too long to develop. 3rd and 25 for BHS. 7:50 to play in the game. In motion, Johnson. Osborne calling signals. Straight drop back. Tries to loop it far for his brother. Too far. Nice coverage by Ken Ezel.
Yeah, good coverage on the play, but he didn't. Tim Osborne didn't let the play develop enough. He threw the ball up, and Pat was not really in a position to make that play. But that's just like a punt, so it doesn't really hurt you. 4th down, Bakersfield has to punt.
It's punting time for BHS from Golden Hawk Stadium. As Centennial holds on to a 14-10 lead with 7:45 to go. But there's plenty of football left tonight.
Mark, we've seen just a great defensive stand by Centennial here in the second half. They just haven't given Bakersfield anything. They haven't been able to run or throw the ball. And you've got to give credit to the Centennial defensive front and defensive back.
Pat Osborne punting from his 20-yard line. Beautiful punt. He could do it all. Thrasher waves it off. I think it should have caught the ball at the 25-yard line. It rolls to about the 12. That's a situation where you have to make a fair catch.
Yeah, I think you do too. You put yourself in a situation field position-wise where you're deep back in your own territory. Turnover here will give Bakersfield an opportunity to maybe score.
Remember, I think we saw a game last week where somebody should have made a fair catch at the 15-yard line. A ball rolled to the 1. That was when the game was very close between East and North. Now, Centennial has it first and 10 at their own 12. I would like to have my own 27.
Right. Well, we know what Centennial's going to do right now. They're going to run the football. Look for Stubby and Echeverry to be running the football in this situation. No turnovers, and they don't want to put the ball in the air unless they have to.
Bradford White to the right for Centennial. 7:30 to play in the game. 14-10 Golden Hawks from their own 12. Ballos inside hand to Echeverry. Keeps both hands on the ball as he's across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Centennial wants to run the football, use up the clock, and keep it away from BHS. Number 32 straight up the middle. As you talked about, Jenna, Centennial has run very effectively between the tackles tonight. Much better than around the outside. In fact, both teams have. Both teams have run better between the tackles, because that's where a lot of the beef is. That's a key player down for Centennial, number 77, Brian Kitching, one of the outstanding offensive and defensive linemen in the area.
Yes, you can ill afford to lose him in a game like this, even for the season. We hope there's nothing serious here, just a cramp.
Wayne Winters into the game for BHS, number 66, replacing number 78, Deion Grimes. Kitching is still down on his back. The coaches are out there. Hopefully it's just a cramp or something like that. 7:15 to play in the ball game. 14-10 in favor of Centennial.
We've been after a better game. We've had a little bit of everything tonight. Some passes have been complete. We've had some long runs. We've had some defensive stands. We've had some kicking, field goal kicking. We've had it all.
Brian at 6'5", 270 is a definite Division I college prospect. And Jan Stubbe is out there, all the other coaches. 14-10 Centennial over BHS from Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. Kitching walks off the field with a couple of help and speculate what the injury is. Hopefully it's just an ankle sprain, as they can ill afford to lose him.
He looks to be okay.
Probably won't play the rest of tonight. He's a very key cog in that Centennial offensive and defensive machine. Big number 77. 2nd and 5 for the Golden Hawks. Ballas calling signals. Echeverry and Stubbe behind him. Stubbe the ball carrier off the middle, tries to break a tackle, but not the grasp of number 33 for BHS, Aaron Graham, with the help of some of his friends off the right side. We'll see where they spot the ball. As they push Andrew back, has some forward progress. 3rd and a long 3 for the Golden Hawks. Big 3rd down situation here with 6:32 to play. They must keep the ball away from BHS.
Oh yes, this is the play of the game for Centennial defensively. For Bakersfield, it's the play of the game. Centennial has to make the 1st down here. If not, Bakersfield gets the ball back in excellent field position.
3rd and 3 for the Golden Hawks. Echeverry, Stubbe behind Ballas. Receivers to each side against BHS. 4-point advantage for Centennial. And officials are blowing the whistles. Timeout Centennial. So we've had some substantive action here recently, as both teams are going to talk about it, defense and offense.
Well, my feeling is in this situation, you got Stubbe or Echeverry. One of them should get the ball, and I think it'll be an off-tackle play up the middle somewhere. But, you know, on the last touchdown for Centennial, it was a misdirection play. and ran wide and scored. So, you know, we don't know what Coach Stevie's going to do. He might have called timeout to change his mind and come up with a different play.
Of course, if I had a running quarterback, I would fake it as soon as roll out to my left and try to hit somebody with a short gain over the middle. Got to throw some winkle into this offensive machine. They probably know that Stevie are going to get the ball at 3rd and 3. Of course, you don't want to gamble too much. I realize it. At your own 18-yard line here in the 4th quarter, so. But sometimes you have to gamble in ball games to win them.
Well, I think you don't want to put the ball in the air if you're Centennial right now. Not only
he hasn't done much in the second half, has he?
No, not only do you possibly make a mistake, but you stop the clock.
I must say, he had 2 INTs already tonight, both in the first half.
You want to keep that clock running if you're Centennial. And throwing the ball and not getting the first down stops the clock.
That's right. 6:08 to play. Brownson line to the right. Fouls the quarterback. We have a new sponsor for tonight's game, Coke and Cinnamon Cyclone, AJ's Tuxedo. Coke, Cinnamon Cyclone, and AJ's Tuxedo. 3rd and 3. Two the ball carrier, and they bring him down. 2nd and 3rd effort. It only gains about a yard or so. It'll be 4th down for Centennial as BHS grows to the challenge.
Well, what would be a game without Bakersfield having the ball one more time to see if they could score? We'd have to set it up that way, Mark.
That's true. And BHS will get it back. Sean Mackey deep with Austin for BHS. They should get pretty good field position, down by 4.
But Centennial, all game long, defensively has come up with a big plays. They got to do it one more time.
Jamie Smith punting from his own 5-yard line with 5:20 to play. Long count. Bad snap. Gets it off just barely. It's high off the side of his foot. Takes a Centennial roll. Very fortunate there. BHS will have it 1st and 10 inside the 45. Depends on the spot. But BHS needs a touchdown. A field goal will not do them any good. They didn't touchdown this situation.
And I think Centennial feels pretty good about their situation right now. They're ahead. Bakersfield needs a touchdown. Bakersfield's going to have to throw the football. They haven't been able to run consistently. But if you're Bakersfield High, you're probably hoping, Mark, that maybe on an off-tackle play, McCoy can make a long run. That's what they're hoping for right now.
1st and 10 for the Drillers. That's the wrong 43-yard line. McCoy behind Tim Osborne and company. He's a ball carrier. Pitch out right. Tries to cut back, slips and falls down. Well, he hasn't run wide effectively tonight, and the field did not help him on that particular side, but Centennial was right there. They've been stringing out those plays very well tonight. Yeah, he probably loses about a yard, 2nd and 11.
Yeah, I think Bakersfield should probably forget that wide play right now. Try to go north and south as much as possible. I really would maybe bring Weagle back into the offensive equation, Mark. He's been very effective with eye plays up the middle, and since they're keen on McCoy, I think Weagle could be very effective, and you know, maybe use somebody else to move the football. Vegas is going to have to find some type of answer.
Austin, Pat Osborne wide to the left, on the right hash mark for BHS. 2nd and 11. Pat Osborne in motion. What gives here? Tim. Pitch back to Pat. He's going to throw it back to his brother. You can see it coming. The pass picked off! Picked off by Centennial. I saw it coming. Mike Gonzalez. I've seen him do that play before. I didn't fool anybody. Didn't fool anybody.
Yeah, they scouted Bakersfield very well tonight. I think they probably threw the ball a little too soon. I don't think Tim was really open on the play. If he had waited a little bit more, he probably could have lost it over Gonzalez because Osborne's 6'4". Gonzalez about 5'3".
Well, that's the problem when you have a guy that's play quarterback and he's trying to make one big play in the game by throwing it. But it was defensed very well by Mike Gonzalez. He was playing off the receiver and had perfect coverage. But I personally knew that was coming because anytime Pat Osborne's in motion running behind the quarterback, you knew that Tim was going to pitch him the ball. They tried that play once before this year and it worked effectively. But it had stereotypes written all over it. 4:23 to play in the ball game, 1st and 10 for Centennial. Etcheverry, inside handoff, good opening. Close for the first down for the Golden Hawks. As the clock continues to run here from Golden Hawk Stadium. Could this be the upset of the year so far?
Well, Mark, 6'1", 255-pound Russ Prado made a great block there.
The center,
the spring, that's
the experienced center for Centennial. From a number of guys who played last year, like Kipling, Prado, Jones, Scooby Etcheverry, Bratcher. It is 1st and 10, 4 minutes to play in the ball game. Centennial on the move in VHS territory at the 30-yard line. They want to use up that clock. Echeverry again, pretty good opening. It stalls momentarily. Gain of about 2, maybe. And the clock continues to run at 3:45. Dunlap with a tackle number 42. Had that key INT before the first half expired, but he was tackled by Andrew Stubbe from behind. Remember, BHS did not score on that possession.
Well, I think right now, if you're Centennial, you want to run the ball straight up the middle, north and south, with Stubbe and Echeverry, get behind that big offensive line and use the clock and try to pick up a few first downs, and they can run off the clock here. They don't have to throw the football.
3:20 to play in the ball game. It's second and a long 7 for Centennial in BHS territory. George Ballas calling signals and a big offensive line. Echeverry, Stubbe behind him. Ballas on the keeper and loses yardage. I thought that play should have given the ball to Echeverry up the middle. That play was working very well. Looked like he was thinking of pitching it back to Stubbe, and he kept it. Loses yardage, runs wide, so uses some of the clock. But timeout BHS, 2:58 to play.
Well, Mark, it's very difficult to run out of the arms of Jason Stewart, the left defensive end of BHS. He grabbed a hold of him, and that was the end of him.
I know you and I do not like those option plays at this stage of the game in the fourth quarter. Well, run very effectively up the middle. I would have kept it there. I think it's a safer run for the quarterback to run the ball. He has not run the ball effectively tonight. You want to have the ball into the hands of Echeverry or Stubbe, your main runner.
Plus the fact when you're going forward, you got momentum, and sideways it really is the advantage of the defense.
Well, when he was holding the ball, it was very possible that he could fumble it.
Right.
Being hit by big Jason Stewart, 6'2", 248.
Right.
And you don't want to hold the ball like a loaf of bread in this stage of the game.
It was a situation where it didn't fool Jason Stewart, and that's the only person who really counted.
I know in one sense they're trying to run wide to use up the clock, but it's not at that level yet where it makes so much difference with 2:48 to play. This game is far from over. 3rd and 10, so Centennial loses 3 yards. Well, they'll come up with a big 3rd down play.
Well, the problem here, Mark, is they like to throw it. The problem with throwing it, though, is that if you don't complete it, it stops the clock. So Centennial, 10 yards is a long ways to go to run the football, but you look for something up the middle, but Bakersfield's going to be expecting that. So it's a situation where you try something short, a short pass, straight up the middle, 10 yards. It's very difficult to get 10 yards.
I didn't know there was
the clock running.
3rd and 10 for Centennial at the BHS 30-yard line. 2:58 to play. Ballas, Echeverry straight up the middle. Power run of about 2 or 3 yards. Raymond Stansbury in company for BHS. Making a tackle also over there. We had number 6 for the Drillers. Timothy Diaz, the backup running back. 4th down. As the clock continues to run at 2:35 to play. Centennial will take all the time in the world they can at 4th and 7. They're trying a field goal, but you know, there's always the possibility of the field goal being blocked. Jonah Long trying about a 44-yarder, I believe. The ball is set down to 34. Holding it, Jason Waugh. Long set is down. It is blocked, just like I said, and knocked out of bounds. So Centennial did not really lose much in that play, but I talked about the possibility of the block. And the kick actually was very low. It goes out of bounds, so Centennial does not lose any yardage. But I still would like the pooch punt, try to get it inside the 20. You know, kick the ball to the sideline and pin BHS back farther.
Well, I would agree with you. I would have tried to punt the ball there because the touchdown would beat them, but the field goal would not beat Centennial. And the way their defense has been playing tonight, I think Centennial should have tried to pooch punt the ball and say, angle the ball to the sideline and make Bakersfield go 80 or 90 yards.
Well, a lot of guys were not able to accomplish that, didn't execute that in high school, not even in college. BHS 1st and 10 at their own 25. 2:09 to play in the ball game. Pitch back is McCoy. Has some blocking, goes to the outside, has some room, and goes out of bounds. Ran a long distance, but not upfield that much. Goes out of bounds.
Well, those are good plays for Bakersfield right now because you want to stop the clock. So what you want to do is run wide, try to pick up some yards, and then get out of bounds so you don't have to utilize all your timeouts.
4th quarter action, 1:57 to play. BHS with the ball at their own 32-yard line. 2nd down, 2nd and 3 for BHS. Pat Osborne slot left. Austin wide left to BHS. Timothy Osborne at QB. Jason Waugh back deep for Centennial. Prevent defense. 2 minutes to play. Osborne looking to his right. He is sacked. He was eyeing Jeremy Wells, number 31, who was open momentarily, but Tim just took too much time to unload the ball and went down.
So again, we've talked about the pressure.
Had a man open and decided not to throw it, did not unload it. It was a slant pattern over the middle, and just did not unload the ball. It takes a lot of time tonight at quarterback for BHS, too much time. You know, he's had protection, but he's waited too long for guys to get open. They put too much pressure on all sides around him. You can't take too much time against the Centennial defense.
Well, one thing that's hurt Bakersfield a little bit, Mark, is that when they go into their pass offense, there's not too many players back there protecting the quarterback.
Break 1:49 to play. Centennial 14, BHS 10. Time Warner Cable, Channel 52.
You know Time Warner Productions' duplication department is the leader in video duplication in all formats and is able to convert videotapes made in foreign countries. But you probably didn't know we offer professional repair of broken VHS tape. Time Warner Productions' splicing and repair department will professionally splice, replace parts, and reassemble your broken VHS tape. For only $29.95, you'll get a fully functional original and a duplicate copy to protect your precious memories for the future. Call Time Warner Productions today at 322-1941 and reclaim those valuable images for tomorrow.
Short, 3rd and 3. And they're in territory at the 30-yard line. They motion Wells. Option to McCoy to the outside. He stopped short. Centennial comes up. Number 40 over there. Brian Dermeyer and company. Justin Davis, number 60. Justin Wilkins. It'll be 4th down for BHS as they lose some.
Remember the last play we talked about Centennial going wide and you thought they made a mistake. In that case, I thought they just didn't look straight to the middle. They went wide again. They haven't making it wide. And Centennial made a good play. We talked earlier about the quarterback in Centennial going wide. Being stopped by Jason Stewart. Same problem here. Some different coach made the same decision.
I didn't like the quarterback going wide because Ballas hadn't run much in the game. 4th and 4. 1:12 to play. That has to be BHS's last time out.
Bakersfield's offense in the second half has really struggled quite a bit tonight. They seem like they've really had a difficult time to find what to call.
Well, let's face it, Dennis. They haven't been able to run effectively tonight. They haven't been out to the outside, which is usually their forte. And they haven't been able to pass the ball effectively because Centennial has put a lot of heat on Osborne. But in the same sense, Osborne has taken too much time to throw. When he's had time to throw, he's looked long downfield to receivers who are not open. He just hasn't unloaded the ball quick enough. And Centennial has rushed him from the backside to the front side. And, you know, it's not like playing some of the other teams that play this year at all times. He's really been befuddled by their pass defense and has just waited too long. You know, you can be calm back there and be cool, but sometimes quarterbacks wait too long to unload the ball, and that has been part of the case. But the Centennial defense has just done a tremendous job. They played a lot of motion for 4 quarters. They swung out plays and then followed up the middle. They've done a great job. 4th and 4 for the Drillers at their own 30. Osborne to McCoy. Has a first down and more. Tripped up first down for BHS. They keep it alive.
That was a fine play, Mark, when we talked earlier about the runs between the tackles. Vegas has been more effective, just like Centennial, north and south. And that's what they did that time. That's what picked up the first down.
First down for BHS. Inside Centennial territory to 49. 1 minute to play in the ball game. Osborne throws it out of bounds, looking to stop the clock. Now, they don't call intentional grounding. The closest player to it was Shannon Ezel. So once again, BHS comes up with a big play, and this time by Darryl McCoy. Maybe his best run of the night. Runs up the middle, breaks a couple of tackles. On 4th and 4, they run it. And they pick up about 15 yards plus, so BHS still alive. 54 seconds to play. Down 14-10.
Well, I think you're going to look at something deep towards the sidelines to try to get out of bounds if it's possible.
Osborne and Austin wide to left for BHS. Long count. Tim Osborne looking to throw. He's under pressure. Gets away momentarily. Now rolling to his left. Wobbles it. It is complete to Pat Osborne. He has to run it to the far side. 30, 25, 20. Gets the block. Down the sidelines. Tackle. I can't believe it. Out of bounds. First down for BHS at the 12-yard line. The Osbornes connect on a big play. Pat pick up some blocks, but across the field, 37 seconds to play. BHS is in business.
Well, Mark, that was a nice scramble by Tim Osborne. His brother got open in the left flat. He tossed the ball to him. Made a nice catch. Got some good blocks. Ran down the right sideline, cut across the field. Got down to the 12-yard line. Great play by
Pass is
Bakersfield.
thrown out of bounds by Timothy Osborne. 30 seconds to play. You know, he showed the ability tonight a couple of times. Tim Osborne, you know, he's 6'3", about 200, could break a couple of arm tackles. He did that time. Made a play on his own. As he goes to his right, came back the other way. Just kind of lost it out to his brother. You know, most of his passes are that way. He doesn't fire the ball. So, I mean, you have a brother who's 6'4", he can throw it that way. Pat was in first position, caught the ball. And then a great blocking downfield as he cut back against his range. Broke the tackle on the far top, goes out of bounds.
Well, you know what we talked about here. Bakersfield's problems in the red zone. They're in the red zone again. We'll see what they do this time.
30 seconds to play. Kicking is out for Centennial. BHS with the ball. Second down and 10. Osborne to throw it to his brother. It's up in the air. The pass. Incomplete. Pat Osborne had his hands on it. Battling in for the ball, Shannon Ezel. As they throw that lost pass, Osborne to Osborne once again. Pat slow and getting up. 24 seconds to play. 3rd and 10 for BHS. You talk about a wire-to-wire finish. That's why I stayed up here in the press box. I haven't gone down to the field. New sponsors for our game tonight, this week. Coke, Cinnamon Cyclone, AJ's Tuxedo Junction. Timeout on the field. 3rd and 10 for BHS. Who will win the game tonight? Will it be the guts of Centennial or the big playability of BHS as this game is going down to the wire? I don't know if my voice can take it anymore.
Well, you know, they run that same fade pattern a lot tonight. And Osborne does go up and get that ball, but he's done a great job, Mark. Ezel for Centennial.
That ball is basically up in the air for grabs.
But he's
done an ability to size to take it away.
And you know what's really amazing about Ezel is he doesn't have any double coverage on Osborne. He's a lot taller than him, but he's got great speed, and he's positioned himself well. But I'll tell you one thing, though. I don't know why at this point in time that they're not double covering Pat Osborne. Do you?
Well, I guess when you have Oxley, Mackey, and fleet-footed receivers, you can't afford to double cover him. That's the only thing I would think about. BHS with our other fleet-footed receivers, they haven't caught a lot of passes tonight, but it's very difficult to double cover everybody. He's got Mackey wide to the left, Austin wide right. Tim Osborne, 3rd and 10, 24 seconds to play. McCoy, Johnson in motion. Osborne to throw it. He's hit as he throws it. It is incomplete. Incomplete. Jason Stewart tried to act like a shortstop, but that ball hit the ground, number 89. And it's 4th and 10 for BHS. 18.3 seconds left. This will be for all the marbles right here. 4th and 10 for Centennial. Has come up big on 3 consecutive plays. They got to do it one more time. 4th and 10 from the 12. BHS can't get a first down at the 2, I think, but not a lot of time left. Probably a time out.
You know what? One thing, Mark, that Centennial might consider doing is blitzing. They haven't really been blitzing, and maybe if you're sending all your linebackers, you want to get Osborne before he has time to set up. So I would look maybe for a blitz on Centennial's and maybe get a sack here.
Well, BHS has to throw the ball into the end zone in this situation. Mackey and Osborne wide to the left. Tim Osborne calling signals, looking left, coming left, and he goes down! He goes down! Centennial wins it! The Golden Hawks win it! Victory for Centennial! Pressure on Tim Osborne. He threw it off the wiggle, incomplete, and the Golden Hawks have pulled off a stunning upset tonight from Golden Hawk Stadium. BHS, seated number 1 in the Central section, goes down at Golden Hawk Stadium, 14-10. We have a flag down there, maybe a little bit too much celebrating. Personal foul penalty.
Well,
but what a defensive effort.
Yeah, I think they had the linebacker blitzing on that play, but you know the ratings don't mean a lot this year. There's a lot of good teams, and being number 1 now is not really what you want. What you want is being number 1 at the end of the year.
11.2 seconds to go in this ball game.
Bakers had plenty of chances tonight, Mark, but the defensive play for Centennial has really made a difference tonight. Bakers have just not had enough time to throw the football and not been able to run the ball consistently. I think the key has been the lack of running attack by Bakersfield, forcing into a lot of
Dan Screw and I talked about how much pressure they put on Tim Osborne, put more pressure than I thought they could. We talked about that being the key, and whether he had time to throw it or not. 11 seconds to play. Centennial will just sit on the ball here and come away with a victory of 14-10 over BHS. And I know that our sponsors enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And I know you, our viewers, enjoyed it tonight. This has probably been about the best game we've ever done on Time Warner in the 2 years. At least I've been associated with. I don't know if my voice can take any more of this. 14-10 Golden Hawks, and they have the victory. That will about do it. From Centennial High School, the Golden Hawks, even up their season series with BHS. They lost last year 21-0. They win tonight 14-10. Jan Stubbe, helped out by his son Andrew Stubbe, defeats Ken Hartnett. The first loss for BHS. And the first loss for Hartnett. And this year is coach of BHS.
Yeah, it was a fine game tonight, Mark. Two good teams tonight, battled very hard tonight. And I think the difference is really Centennial's defense. Just a little stronger, especially in some of the big third down plays tonight. And that was the difference in the ball game. So a great game.
Excuse me, is that tuxedo from AJ's?
Let AJ's get you noticed. A Bakersfield tradition for over 25 years, specializing in Pierre Cardin, Christian Dior, Oscar de la Renta, and Calvin Klein. AJ's Tuxedo Junction, with 3 great locations to serve you.
Cinnamon Cyclones is sending you to the movies.
On September 26th, the threat is real.
Guy got away with a bomb.
George Clooney, Nicole Kidman, The Peacemaker, rated R.
Come into Cinnamon Cyclones today and sign up, because twice a week we're giving away passes for 2, plus movie posters to The Peacemaker. And while you're here, check out our all-new lunch menu. Cinnamon Cyclones will make your taste buds spin.
True or false? Pain is nothing compared to what it feels like to give in.
Powerade. Power to working muscles when you need it.
I am not done.
Get back into the game with Powerade. This game is brought to you by Powerade and your Coca-Cola bottler in Bakersfield. Powerade, you are not done.
From Golden Hawk Stadium tonight, it was Centennial 14, Bakersfield High School 10. With me is head coach Jan Stubbe and his son Andrew Stubbe. Had a great game. Coach, your defensive effort was awesome tonight.
We were relentless. You know, we thought we might be able to do that. We thought we'd be more physical than they had seen this year and get after them and cause some havoc. And Billy Richardson and Randy Roberts and Jeff Turman and Dennis Manning defensively did a great job. And that Mike Gonzalez was just a stud.
You guys showed a lot of speed in the defensive backfield tonight.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This speed thing was overplayed because we're fast.
You put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Tim Osborne, tonight. How did you manage that?
We're faster. We just didn't tell anyone we're fast. We knew we were fast.
What aggressive performance by number 43, your son Andrew Stubbe. Had a long run for a touchdown in the first half. You broke some tackles and you accelerated to the end zone.
Yeah, my line did a good job, and I didn't know I could run that fast, but hey, you know, big game.
You had a great run in the second half, but I think I was most impressed with the tackle you made before the first half concluded. Dunlap intercepted a pass. You tackled him from behind at the 10-yard line. BHS did not score a point in that possession. That was a very key play of the game because of the fact, I think, that it gave the team emotionally a big lift. They showed your 120% hustle.
Well, Jeff's my cousin, and I don't want to let him score because I love him and everything, but, man, he had never let me live that down, so I had to catch him.
That was Jeff. So is this is definitely your biggest win of the year. Is it the biggest win in Centennial's history?
Oh, I think along with McLean last year, but this is a big win because they're such a proud school, and they have a great program and they have a great history. And for us to come up and after a loss bounce back, I'd say it's really big for us. And my hat's off. BHS played very tough, and I'm just pleased with the way our kids played.
McCoy was not able to run to the outside against your team. He strung out every play so well.
Oh, Mike Gonzalez and Davis and Dermeyer and the DBs, they flowed with them.
Hey, didn't you get nervous? 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line, 40 seconds to play. You guys stopped them on 4 consecutive plays. Wow.
I was nervous Monday morning, you know. It's been a great week for our program.
When Osborne caught that pass and it ran from left to right, and
Osborne's are great athletes, you know, and they make things happen. And, you know, we just keep plugging away. And we said Monday that the game would be won with heart, and our kids have huge hearts. We knew that.
How does your team build on this win?
Well, we want to keep going, you know, and they won't get a big head, I'll tell you that.
Isn't it exciting here tonight?
This is great. The fans, our community and the fans, I'll tell you, they were the 11th man tonight. I mean, they just really 12th man. They were really into the game. The loudest crowd we've ever had here.
Jan Stubbe, head coach Centennial. Thanks a lot. Andrew Stubbe, number 43. Great job. I'm Mark Heffernan for Time Warner Cable, Channel 52. Good night from Golden Hawk Stadium at Centennial High School.